Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Oops. Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that like button and please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. I will greatly appreciate it. Yeah, what's going on in the chat room? What's going on? Oh, we're going to get into the topic here shortly. I thought Africans had a completely different phenotype from Black Americans, and Black Americans and Africans don't look the same. I thought that was the deal. I thought, they had a different, I've heard that Africans can't grow afros and the hairlines is different and all that other stuff. And, but y'all easily get confused on some and claim that some Africans, in this case Nigerians, were FBA. How did that happen? Oh yeah, that's right. Can't grow beards. I've heard it all. I have heard it all. But before we get into that, guys, if you have not bought my documentary, again, if you have not bought my documentary, In Search of Uhuru, please go to insearchofahuru.com. Again, please go to insearchofahuru.com and buy. Yeah, that's right. Africans can't grow beards, can't grow afros. FBA looks Native American and the Africans look African. I've heard it all. But y'all showed it, dropped the ball with this one. But please go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com. Again, please go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com to learn more. We will love, love, love for you to stream the documentary. And when you stream this documentary, it is yours for life. So you pay for it and you set up a login and you can watch and stream it wherever you go. Most African can't grow beards. That's genetically proven. Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about. But listen, you'll have your opportunity to call in and provide your case study. But yes, please go to go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com. Go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com and support and buy the documentary. Also, we're rolling to Nigeria on Saturday. Looking forward to that. And then we are going to Zanzibar in September 20th through the 29th. Kenya end of September, September 30th to October 8th. Then we're rolling to Sierra Leone in November, November 20th to 29th. Ghana and Sierra Leone, Ghana and Ivory Coast, that's November 8th to the 19th. And then we are also rolling to Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival. So if you're interested in joining us, visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO. Shout out to AJ Niger. I'm coming to Ghana. Shout out to my brother AJ Niger. Hold on, let's guys, my brother. Oh, in fact, this is a prime example. This is the perfect example. So the argument is that the black immigrants or descendants of immigrants, I don't know what to call them, first generation, don't support FBA. Now, my brother AJ Niger, let's see here, Sierra Leone twice, Zanzibar, Namibia, and South. Look, is it 4 or 5 trips, AJ? Is it 4 or 5 trips you've been on with me? I'm trying to remember, 4 or 5. But my Nigerian brother AJ, 5 trips. He's been on 5 trips with me. And Senegal. I forgot Senegal. So right, correct. That's 5. He's been on 5 with me. But we had a show yesterday. Oh, them Africans, they don't support us, Black Americans. They don't support us. And here's my brother AJ. I know Tyler's probably watching too. But shout out to AJ. Thank you for the support, my brother. And let's jump into the topic, y'all. Let's jump into the topic. Here's the video. So you guys confused this man right here as being FBA. And I was told and he has a beard. Hold on. So we got a double whammy here. So this Nigerian who you guys claim was FBA, who you guys claim that Africans can't grow beards, has a full thick beard. What happened? Hold on. Most African can't grow beards. That's genetically proven. Okay. All right. I hear you. Let's continue.
Andrew, what the fuck is Andrew doing in there? He's a foreigner. You're not even American. Whoa, the game is so happy, bro.
Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. So at Solon 444 is who shared this content. FBA. So FBA is sharing this content, claiming that this is FBA. And he's not.
I'm like, get the cake off the table. I was like, you were fucking good luck. I was the fucking good luck.
All right, but guess let's see who posted this. Tariq Nasheed. Here we go. Tariq Nasheed. Some more Argentinian soccer fans had to get G checked by some FBA brothers. Some more Argentinian soccer fans had to get G checked by some FBA brothers. Oh man. Oh man. Some more Argentinian soccer fans had to get G checked by some FBA brothers. Somebody tell Tariq yet? Now, somebody told Tariq yet? Did he get the memo? Did Tariq get the memo? I don't know if he got the memo, y'all. I don't know if he got the memo. Hold on. Let's hold on. This is funny right here. Hold on one second. This is kind of funny right here. We'll listen to this exchange real quick.
We are the new you, and you guys look at us. You guys got math from us. You guys got algebra from us.
How?
We were the first to have algebra and math.
Sir, yeah. We were over there then, so yeah, we took it over here. You didn't give us nothing. You can't even use 2 + 2 to build a toilet over there, sir. So yeah, you don't know that much about algebra. If you knew algebra and all of this geometry and math,
that's because the FBS.
Why aren't you over there building roads, sir? Why you got dirt roads and you shitting on sidewalks if you got all this math and algebra? Huh? Come on, tell me about the math and algebra.
Because the FBAs here cannot calm down enough for the white man to give us the things we need. If you be cool and calm, they will help us.
Family, do y'all hear this tether? Y'all want to know the delineation, why it's so important, ladies and gentlemen? This right here is why delineation is so important. What we gonna build with this? Family, listen to this.
That's neither here or there.
Are we gonna build with this?
All you have to do is calm down and just go to work, calm down your youth, and just do the right thing. You ask for reparations. Why would you get that when you don't even work hard enough to get it?
Y'all ain't got working electricity.
It's funny as hell because dude is obviously trolling the hell out of Tariq. Like Tariq is getting trolled right now. That's why this is hilarious. Like he is trolling the hell out of Tariq. That's why this is hilarious. Go ahead.
In many parts of your homeland.
Because you guys can't calm down.
So it's our fault that you ain't got electricity in your homeland?
Yes.
How?
Because the president won't do anything for us because he looks at us like young niggas here.
Your president? So you're blaming your failure in your own homeland on us?
Yes.
Who are these tethers? What's wrong with these tethers? Are they on some Igusi crack? What are they on? Let me get the black receipt in. What are these tethers talking about? The black receipt. What's going on with this man? The black receipt?
Man, I don't know if he done ate some of that bush meat that you done put up, done got caught in.
No, I did. I don't even eat bush.
Let me be clear. Leave bushmeat out of this, okay? I love bushmeat. Agouti, grass cutter, lapine. I love bushmeat. So y'all leave bushmeat out of this. Thank you.
Bushmeat.
Oh, you don't eat bushmeat. Look, I don't know if you done suck too much white man dick or you done got on the bushy train to come over here and you ain't trying to get deported. But look, it's time to go, buddy. I don't know what they done told you, what type of dreams they done showed you. But you got to go. You are not the new us. Look, it's been plenty of people who've been trying to replace us from the white adjacent.
You're being replaced now.
No,
we
sir,
come, we watch you,
no,
we
no.
learn you. We
Look,
see everything you do and we be you. So
No,
how could we
no.
not? We
look,
watch you.
you can copy us. Look, I understand y'all over there learning all the O2 moves because y'all on some G-Unit shit right now. Y'all 20 years behind. It's okay.
Right.
The transmission hasn't made it there properly because y'all ain't got enough antennas to get, you know what I'm saying, good video service. But y'all can't replace us because we have that majority spirit where we always changing the game. That's why everybody's falling in line with delineation. You see, next year white folks are delineated. They over here fighting right now on Twitter over who's white because white folks in America don't want Jewish people to be white. But Elon said they're peak white. So unfortunately, you got to deal with delineation. It'd be best for you to go back home and fix your homeland. Because I know
I look like you, so it doesn't matter. If they round me up, they're gonna round you up too.
No, they're not, sir. Y'all been wanting us to get rounded up for the longest. They ain't rounding us up. And if you're the new us, name the Nigerian Beyonce.
I mean, who cares about the Nigerian Beyonce? Why does everything got to fall back to entertainment? The Nigerian Beyonce. Oh Lord. Like is that the comeback? Name the Nigerian Beyonce. Is that the best we got? Is that the best response in the snapback that we got? Name the Nigerian Beyonce. Oh Lord. He said name the Nigerian Beyonce. Okay.
And please don't say Thames.
I know. What's the OJ? What's the Nigerian Beyonce? What's the Nigerian Luther? What's the Nigerian Prince?
That's neither here or there.
Oh, it is. No. Because if you're the new us, you better show some of our icons. Who do you got who's comparable to foundational Black American icons?
But again, why is it limited to freaking entertainment? Why has it got to be entertainment? I mean, come on.
Rima.
Who?
Rima.
FBA fan. Who the fuck is Rima? Who the hell is Rima? FBA family, have y'all ever heard of Rima? Who the hell is Rima?
You hate us, but you dress like us and eat like us.
Who?
You.
Dress like who?
What you wear?
I ain't wearing no kente cloth thong. What you talking about?
You're here to joke. I'm here to be real.
Dress like you.
The white man.
Who dressed like you? No. Who dressed like you? I don't wear damn khaki pants and flip-flops. Who dressed like you?
You ashy people too. You guys are ashy too.
No, we're not. We are very well oiled.
Your hairlines are back too. You look just like us. You want to be divisive. You hate us for no reason.
Nobody. You hate yourself.
No one talks about you.
No, we're not, sir. You want us to be down bad so bad.
All right, guys. Links in the chat room. If you want to call in after the conversation. And those who think that Africans, that Black Americans don't look anything like any African, that's why we's indigenous to America. You are more than welcome to call in and just let's talk about it. I like to hear more. So link is in the chat room. Click on the link, and we'll jump into it. Again, we will jump into it. Why do how are African? But I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. Do FBA look different from Africans? And if they do, how did y'all mess this up? And if Africans can't grow beards, this is clearly a picture of an African with a beard. So link is in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Dinus, you don't look like the average Black American. Well, number one, I'm not average. So that's number one. So you are correct. Kadoe, go ahead.
All right. So can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, I find this to be very interesting because it's just like looking at the color blue and another person say, "Oh, that's not blue. That's that's yellow." That's just how it is. You know, this thing here is actually going some sort of way now. Like there's the last time I gave a certain scenario. I said when people take it's both Africa and Asia that have elephants, right? But Asian elephant looks different from African elephants. So when people take African elephants and carry it to Asia or to carry it to any parts of the world, when a person see elephant to another place, one they identify the African elephant there from the Asian elephant, they will, right? They will. So the fact that they will identify the African elephant from the Asian elephant, that's the same with black people. Black people globally around the world, yes, we are black, but we don't all look the same. The black Africans that were taken from Africa, that was taken to other parts of the world, when people see them, they can know. So it's the same as the black people in the Western world. There's no single ethnic group of black people in the Western world that are not from Africa. That's a big fat lie. Every ethnic group, every single group of black people in the Western working from Africa. Yes. So that thing they are saying is completely wrong. People can see them and know straight that that particular type of black is from Africa. And not just Africa, but they know the parts of Africa they are from. So it is only a fool that will look at a person that is a biological African or a person that is biologically related to people from Africa and say that they don't look alike. It is only a fool that will say that. Let me just end of that statement.
Okay. Go ahead, Big Black. Pause.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. And the tripped out thing is, I think most black people have Nigerian,
Yeah,
lineage.
the vast
Yeah,
majority, yes.
yeah, this is tripped out, man. I don't see. I wonder what's Tariq's end game. How long is this gonna
Well,
last?
and Big Black, I was just thinking about that. What's the end? Yeah, exactly. What's the end game? How long does this last?
I
What
mean,
does he snitch? I mean, switch to what does he switch to next?
it's like he actually it sounds like he doesn't know when to stop. So I think all people, all African people around the world, African diaspora, need to fight back against this movement because it's starting to it's growing, and then you're starting to have people that channels that's popping up, and they're going against African Americans as a whole. And that's sad because these FBA people claim to be us, but people that consider themselves African American or Black American and not FBA, they're not with that, with this group. But it seems like it's being pushed by YouTube. I mean, you can't say, even when you type in the comment section, you can't say anything bad about FBA, it seems like, or your comment doesn't get read. I've looked at like a lot of the comments on your videos, right? All I see is the elbows rushing to your comment section after every video, and some of the comments that are against what the elbows are saying. It seems like YouTube is not letting them, be read publicly. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty much tired of this movement, man. I'm gonna pass the mic for right now.
All right, go ahead, gift of God.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly like similarities. There is a clear similarity. If I was to take, say, for example, someone from the Caribbean, if I was to take someone from West Africa, and I was to take a Black American, dress them all the same, and put them all side by side, I don't think a lot of people will be able to tell the difference. I don't think a lot of people will be able to tell the difference. So to me, it's just ridiculous. This is just getting petty. You know what I'm saying? It's getting real petty because, you know, like West Africans have their phenotype, and their phenotype goes out, you know, spreads out, obviously to the Americas and everything else. So yeah, I mean, it's really getting petty, and I think black people around the world, we should be doing better. We should be doing better, you know, because, you know, off topic, there's a lot going on across the world, yeah, and I think this is a chance for us to get leverage and to start getting serious as black people, you know what I'm saying? But it seems that we are stuck in petty behavior, you know what I'm saying, on the continent and outside the continent, in the diaspora. So like there's just a lot of petty things, and I think we need to do better. We need to step it up and do better, you know, because if you look, for example, obviously there's a lot going on in the Middle East and everything else. This is our time as black people, you know what I'm saying? This is our time, like, you know, to move up the social ladder, like, you know what I'm saying? But we're not getting it. We're not seeing the bigger picture. I'm always saying this, you know, we're not seeing the bigger picture. We're just there, just doing this childish petty stuff, and you know what I'm saying, we're gonna miss them opportunities if we don't, you know, wake up and take these opportunities which is popping up at the moment. You know what I'm saying? There's so much opportunities, you know, at the moment. Middle East is down. There's travel, tourism that, you know, people can invest in. There's so much things that we could be doing, collaborating together, but you know, we're just doing petty stuff, differences, you know, small, minute differences that we're arguing about, and you know. But anyway, well, you know, I just hope that we wake up. You know, I hope that we wake up and do better than what we're doing. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
All right, cool. Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. What's up, Dynas? Thank you for having me on.
Peace.
It's been a while since I've been on here, so I just had time to see your video. I actually had seen that when Tariq had originally posted it, and it was going, I guess you could say, a little bit viral, and people were putting under there that the guy is Nigerian. A lot of his followers were saying, no, they're not, or no, he's not, and then they had to put screenshots of the IG, and then things kind of got silent after that. But I'm not surprised. I think what it is that what Tariq has done is he's trying to use what he perceives to be good behavioral characteristics that he thinks are positive among black people, and saying that they're all attributed to what he calls FBA, which is not even really if you examine it, it's really not even an ethnic group or lineage, because there's no defined characteristic or of what someone is as far as an FBA, as he calls it. And he said earlier, who is the version of Beyonce over there? Beyonce's dad is Bahamian, by the way. And I know this. You know why I know this? Because I'm born and raised in Houston. I grew up with Beyonce. I know where she went to high school. I know where she went to middle school. And in fact, one of my close friends that I went to high school with back in the late 90s, early 2000s, well, he graduated a year after I did, is her brother-in-law, Daniel Smith. And I'm connected to the family through my sister, because my sister is friends with her sister, Solange. Her dad is Bahamian. So even when they even prop up a Beyonce's propped up despite the fact that her dad is Bahamian. And the last name Knowles is only found in the Bahamas. It's not found in the United States. It comes from the Bahamas, just like there's certain names in the Caribbean, like roll, ROLLE. You'll find that like in, the Bahamas. So the thing about it is that when they prop up these things, it's meant to just try and circulate, find a way to say these are the positive traits of what an FBA is. And if you exhibit these traits, if you quote unquote stand on business somehow, some way, you must be FBA, because there's no way somebody that's not quote unquote FBA will do this. And that really just exposed, what I call just the idea. I think globalization has kind of like caused this, because what people thought people from the Caribbean or Africa were, and with the internet exposing more things, I think this whole idea of being the magical Negro in the diaspora wars is basically what is driving this type of insecurity that you find among Tariq and his followers. And, that's the reason why they couldn't even talk about the World Cup. They couldn't even talk about the biggest event, that was going on the planet. He couldn't even address it. He couldn't even talk about it. His followers were lost because nobody was focusing on something that they wanted to focus on. And it just gets, it's something that's going to die down eventually, because it's a small few. And at the end of the day, if you follow any of the main people that are in the FBA movement, they all are married to women that are foreigners. Now, Dennis Sperling is actually part Jamaican. A lot of people don't even know that. Not only that, he has a child with a Jamaican mother. He's married to a Dominican woman. Phil Scott, same thing. He is married to a Mexican woman, has Mexican stepchildren that he takes care of from her previous relationship. These people are doing this as a grift, as a way to make money. And quite frankly, when it comes to Tariq, this is his last stop. There is no pivot. Every other
so that's what, I don't know if you came on. I think it was me and Big Black were talking about that. But exactly, what's next? Like, what's the pivot?
There is no pivot, because if you really examine his move, he cannot pivot anywhere else. This is his dead end. There's no pivot. If you really think about where could he pivot to, he can't go back to any other thing that he did before. And there is no new pivot after this. Because even if you're looking to be a revolutionary, to fight for some kind of an independence for your people, you don't burn all bridges. You don't burn all bridges, meaning like you at least leave an outlet out for you to be seek asylum. So the fact that he burned all bridges in the diaspora, where he can't even leave for an asylum, when you're talking about the likes of a Stokely Carmichael or any other black revolutionary from back in the day, they could at least go to another country. They can go to Cuba, like Assata Shakur. They can go to Ghana. There would be places that they could go where they could seek asylum. He's actually burned those. So to me, there's no way that he is not, at least if he's not already been contacted by people that are in, the CIA intelligence. There's no way, because he burned all bridges. And if the fact that he's willing to go this far, he has to be getting some money. I would love to see his cash apps and see where they're coming from. I would love to see where some of his donation money is coming from, because when he talks to white nationalists, he's very kind with them. If you ever listen to him talk to white nationalists, open white supremacists, he's very cordial with them. So it's something that he's just on this grift that it has no other way for him to go, but he has to go all in. He's basically all in this grift. And, his followers, they're just people that are ignorant, because when they step outside and they run into people, they realize that they're more similar to people within the diaspora, especially those that are born and raised in the country, in the United States, than they are, dissimilar. And I think what he uses is the ignorant ones that don't have a grasp of things, that basically take hold to his insults and are like, man, he's talking about Ghanaians, he's talking about Haitians. I'm going to go and respond to him. And then he just blindsides them with whatever thing he feels like they can, get tripped up about, and it's very, to me, it's more of a form of entertainment when he does it. I don't look at it like he's taking it seriously. I just think he's doing it because it generates the views that he wants. He's cornered a market. He's trademarked FBA. He's very static. He's not static on the definition. You could be, if you have one non-native born parent like a Nipsey Hussle. If he thinks you're cool enough, you're in the club. It's cool kids table politics. If you do something that's cool enough to be at the cool kids table, you're FBA. And that's really all I got to say for right now.
All right, cool. Go ahead, CD.
Hey, Dennis. Hi, everybody. Um, Dennis. So
Hold
who
on.
was?
CJ, did I skip you, CJ? You just spoke, CJ, right?
Yeah, I just spoke. Yeah, I just spoke.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, CD.
Yeah. So who was asking that? Someone was saying Beyonce. Who is African Beyonce? Who was asking that question? Dennis.
Said I didn't hear you. Say that again.
There's somebody mentioned about African Beyonce. Who is African Beyonce? Who was asking that question? Because there
It was
were.
Tariq. It was Tariq Nasheed.
Oh, he's that's Tariq. What he need Tariq Yashid or Tariq what? What his name? Dennis?
Tariq Nasheed.
Tariq Nasheed. Okay. Wow. So he's the head for FBA.
He
Dennis.
doesn't claim to be. He doesn't claim to be the head of FBA.
Okay.
Tariq
So
doesn't.
for the fact that someone can even uh mention FBA saying that Beyonce, who is African Beyonce, that will tell you how low this guy is. Right, with all the achievement of black people in America, the only person he can come up with is Beyonce, who is African Beyonce. I mean, come on. I mean, African Americans have achieved a lot in America for someone to ask who is African Beyonce. I thought this guy was some very intellectual person that would come up with something that people would make sense of, you know, and also mistaking Nigerian to be FBA. So that would tell you, say, internationally, he got no knowledge of what is going on around him, you know. But again, he will, people like that will have followers no matter what. He's a grifter no matter how the situation, he's getting the view, he's getting the cash out, and a lot of ignorant people will follow him and he will still make money to survive. He's just a survivor. But you know, I know definitely there was something else he was talking about before this, before he became FBA. And now when he's not making money anymore, he's going to pick up on different things that will help him to survive, you know. So I'm not even going to waste my time making comparison with African Americans and African. You can decide whether you African descent or not, but it's not important at all. But I'm just disappointed to hear someone like this who claimed to be the head of FBA. The only thing that he can come out with is Beyonce, who is African Beyonce. I mean, I think entertainment have left black people behind in America. And it's sad that people would think only black people can do is entertainment, right? You talk about role model, is only Beyonce that he can come out with. First of all, Beyonce, I don't think if she really want to 100% identify herself with black people, otherwise she won't be uh, bleaching her skin or making her hair look like a white lady. So, but it's sad. It's very, very sad that someone like they will have followers, you know. But again, I believe there was something else that he used to talk about, and that dies down. And the next project for him was to divide black people and make some money and survive and go on. And he's not the only person. It's both ways. The Africans that are doing it, the African Americans that are doing it. So he's just a survivor. I don't think we should waste our time. This is my first time hearing his voice. I thought he was very intellectual, very eloquent. But all he talk about their rule in their rule in Africa. Which part of Africa he been though? He talk about 54 country, right? So now on all part of Africa is their rule, you know. But it's sad to hear someone that have no knowledge of of the rest of the world. Need to sit in his bongo in America and talk nonsense. But I will learn for now. But thank
Shout
you.
out to O'Shea Duke Jackson for the 1,000 Kenya shillings, supporting the Hotep family, my brother. Thank you, brother. Hotep, Hotep, Hotep. All right, go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, greetings, brothers and sisters. Brothers on the hello. And basically, panel and the chat. Please like, share, subscribe, and please support the channel. Please, because the brother is here day in, day out, putting the work in. It's only good to appreciate him. And also buy the documentary. Yes, look, Tariq Nasheed, I'm very disappointed in a brother like that. To me, he's trying to be a leader. I would not even call him a leader. He sounds like someone, he's a muppet. He's a complete muppet. There's no leader. Leader don't behave like that. Especially in this day and age, you don't behave like that. We are actually one of the most vulnerable group, if not the most vulnerable group in the world. And he's only doing is seeking division. I understand African American. I said this before, and I will say it again. I understand that I think African Americans or Africans, black people of African descent in America who've been there for over 400 years deserve to have their own ethnicity, other than being boxed in with African migrants who were born there. There are different reasons I'm saying this. The reason why I'm saying this, you know, in the future, it could be a really catastrophic you know, um, mistake from black people not to actually fight hard to have that secure, as an identity separation. They have to be separated to African migrants, absolutely. But the rest of it, I think there's some. It's sounding like a little bit of hate group. And I think if the people who are fighting for this FBA, if they are fighting for a separate lineage, what you call delineation, trying to have their own identity, if they actually associate with someone like Tariq Nasheed as a leader, this is just heading for it's a recipe for disaster. It's not going to happen, and they're going to alienate so many people, not only in America but globally, and it will not happen. Trust me, and it's going to go bad. And the people that they actually should be standing against or trying to get support from, they're just gonna laugh at them thinking, well, you have no support. So we're gonna box you in one day with the African migrants. We can actually deport you as criminals out of this country. Okay? There's so many laws that's been passed in the West, to do these things. Trust me, they're crawling there slowly but surely. Okay? Um, so African Americans, they should absolutely stay away from Tariq Nasheed if they want their cause to be right, and actually form their own lobby group to try to make sure African Americans of African descent are identified separately to African migrants that are born there. Not only African migrant Caribbeans and so on. Goes well basically with this. I'm not going to comment on the Nigerian guy because that's just some comedy show really. But listen to the conversation with him and this thing that sound like an AI. It just shows the level of man and his intelligence. I mean, it's very low, and I would not um, give a man like that time. And I'm actually quite surprised that people like, so many people that came on this platform and talked in support of Tariq Nasheed, who see them as a leader, who actually think they're more intelligent than Tariq Nasheed. So it's a bit shocking, really. I think it's about time, the Africans in the diaspora also stop, going there doing the work of the white supremacists. Because the reality is, Africans are also. I had so many Africans who are actually, you know, um, saying a lot of bad things about African Americans, and it's both sides. As CD said earlier, so both sides need to stop. There's more. If we cannot unite as people, at least just be quiet and get on with your business. Be a man, bring your family up, do the right thing. Start from the grassroots, the community where you live in America. The black people that you live with it there, or whoever nationality or whoever whatever is gonna make it work for you and your family. Do that, but don't go there to destroy. If you have nothing to say, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything. That's how I see life. But I'll pass the mic for now. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very insightful from Africa there, But yeah, I think FBA's
Thank you.
are
I gotta pass the mic to Image Nest. Go ahead,
okay.
All right, thank you, sir. I will say this: this channel does a good job of promoting Africa, African countries, identity. But as far as promoting it to Black Americans, I don't think it's effective to be advertising something in a negative aspect. You know, like in marketing, you really want it to be a pleasant experience. Like you look at a restaurant, it's like you could taste the food looking at the commercial. It's good music playing. You know, people having vibes. So I think it's a probably the African people themselves might want to actually be more pleasant in their verbiage and their disposition, especially if they want to actually promote and get a better response to the continent, because you get exactly what you put out. Like I done heard P. Diddy say that, I heard Master P say do this. These people make millions of dollars with this principle of marketing. You get exactly what you do, whatever you work you do, whatever you gonna get that back. But as far as the topic, the Nigerians that got the beards that look similar, like a Anthony Joshua. People were surprised he was Nigerian when he knocked out the Paul brother. He knocked him out, and then he just revealed he was Nigerian because he looked like a, I ain't gonna say a regular Black dude, but you know. But I would say, like, I look at my father. He was in the Nation of Islam.
Well, you know, Anthony Joshua's mixed, I believe.
But yeah, I think his father
Yeah.
from Nigeria. Then he
You
went
got
down
Irish.
there.
You got Irish in
Yeah,
him.
he's mixed. He's
Dennis,
mixed still.
You got Irish in him.
But I know some African people that you probably can't tell because you know they got a typical, probably Igbo people. They got a typical disposition that looks similar, identical to, you know, Black American, Jamaican. But I would say as far as the hair, well, my father was in the Nation of Islam. Plus, he was in the Air Force too. He always was clean, shaven. He didn't
But
let hair grow on his face.
there is a lot of Black people on the continent that look like Black Americans. I'm telling you now.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. My father always was shaving. I don't know if it came from him being in the military, but I know it's a law in the Nation of Islam. But even when they flipped to Sunni, when Farrakhan took over, and then a lot of the brothers started, you know, growing their beards up like Arab, Sunni Islam, he never did that. So you look at his face, say, oh, he can't grow hair. But that was just his choice. But all of his sons could grow hair and on their face too. Like I grow hair on my face, you know. So I think maybe a lot of the African people just choose to shave their hair and don't let their, you know, dreads grow or let their beard grow. It might not be because they can't. You just probably don't know the cultural reasons. And then as far as the brother with his, I would call it unsubstantiated rhetoric about Beyonce talking about her father's from the Bahamas, and as if that's a big shock that a person from the Bahamas could have like a famous or a prominent position in America. Do he know that Sidney Poitier, probably the most famous Black actor, is from the Bahamas? Do he know that? And he started off in theater, Harlem, I think in New York, with a Raisin in the Sun. And then during the civil rights movement, he was inspired by that and went back to the Bahamas and helped them get independence. And then he tried to become the emperor of Japan. I actually watched this documentary, Sidney Poitier, and he talked about the name Knowles is only found in the Caribbean. Like my mother, her family last name is Noble.
Well, I think he said that because by Tariq Stennis, Beyonce wouldn't be FBA.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
regardless
So
of what we're talking about.
let me explain myself real quick.
Hold
I don't want
on.
to offend you.
Let me finish what I'm saying. As far as the name Knowles, and you say that's not found in America, the name Noble is actually the original version of that. It comes from the word note. It's come from the principle of notable, like the nobility. And Knowles is actually one of the derivatives. And if my family is all in the South with the word noble, and it's what's the opposite of derivative? It's like a source of the name. How can you say Knowles can't be from America?
Let me explain to you. I don't want to disrespect you at all, so I'm gonna just what's your name, sir?
What do you mean? What's my name? My name is M.
M. Okay, no, I just want to make sure. I don't want to misaddress you. That's all. I said that because Tariq Nasheed has a standard that if you have one black foreign parent, at least he picks and chooses whenever he wants, that you can't be FBA unless he decides you are.
Tariq Nasheed is a comedian.
Wait, hold on.
He's a character.
We're having a discussion. We're having a discussion based on the title and what the subject is. Okay, he trademarked FBA. You can look it up. He trademarked Foundation of Black America. So anyway, Matthew Knowles is from Bahamian heritage. You can look up on YouTube of him going to the Bahamas when he went to visit, and they had a big procession for him. So I'm not speaking something that I don't know. I know because
I'm telling us we're going to own Sidney Poitier because he married a white woman and he's from Bahamas.
I don't think you get what I'm saying. I don't think you're understanding. I'm pretty sure the people before understand what I'm talking about because we discussed it earlier. I'm saying that Tariq Nasheed the discussion was Tariq Nasheed had brought up in a discussion with somebody from Africa, asking him who is their version of Beyonce, because he props up Beyonce as the queen representative of what an FBA is. And by his logic, if that's the case, Beyonce's dad, who has a Bahamian background, shouldn't be propped up, but he props her up because he'll use, her mother. So what I'm saying is that he is using somebody who in other situations he would classify as non-FBA or a tether. That's what I'm saying.
You're just connecting things. You're connecting ideas. Beyonce, one of her most famous songs, it's similar to Janet Jackson. It was on the Super Bowl. What's that song called? It's like a formation.
Nobody want to know about Beyonce.
Alabama,
this is
Louisiana,
black people
Texas.
behind.
She ain't mention anything about Bahamas in that song. Formation. But I'm saying, regardless of that, Beyonce actually, Kelly Rowland made a whole movie about Africa, and they rejected her. They said she was cosplaying. This was before we even used the term cosplaying. She was culturally appropriating Africa. So they didn't want. And then, as far as like the word noble or notable, that's an actual royal class in Europe. But it's all about being renowned and being glory, like something that you did, like that story in Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh, like stuff like that. Like when your name could just ring throughout history. Isn't that Black Americans? We're like notable all over the world without even trying. Like that's just that concept just manifested itself.
Even your Sidney Poitier example, Tariq Nasheed rejects him anyway.
Why that's would what I'm saying. You're Sidney Poitier. Well, that makes no sense.
The title is they thought he was FBA. I'm saying even they think Beyonce is FBA, and her dad is Bahamian. You can go on YouTube.
Songs
you can go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and you can see him in the Bahamas.
I mean, like bringing up these unsubstantiated theories, and then you talked about the word Knowles is only found in like Caribbean or somewhere else.
There's certain names that are more prominent.
Name.
And people migrated.
The original aspect of the name, that's actually my mother's last name. But I can say that because
it's not Noble, it's Knowles. It's Knowles. And like I said,
Noble is the original version.
After all the years, African Americans.
It's the original version of the name. I actually researched it. And that's actually one of the derivatives. What I'm saying is, my mother and father changed their name because of Nation Islam.
Hold on, one second. Some or none other baddie. That I mean, come on, man.
What I'm saying is
I'm talking. Yeah, some or none other baddie. I mean, like your bounty price $5. I mean, come on, some or none other
They
baddie.
trying to get people kicked off.
Yeah, it's talking about $2 yesterday, $5. You're not serious. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
All I'm saying, as far as like the African people that probably choose not to grow their hair, it probably is not because they don't have a genetic makeup to do it. It might be something in their culture. Just like with my father with the Nation of Islam, he just didn't grow his hair. He just kept that in his repertoire, even though they became Sunni. And he just didn't follow the Arabs, like growing big beards and just stuff like that. He just kept himself clean cut.
Dennis, she's asking how much you cost.
Hey,
I'm done though.
to drop M off for for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes.
Hey, it's gonna be $25. There we go, $25.
25. Okay, that's discount. That's fair enough.
$25. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We'll put M on a 10. We'll put M on a 10-minute timeout for $25. Sorry, go ahead.
The issue is people that talk that either there's discussions about FBA, they don't even understand the standard and the moving target of the definition. So when we talk about it, they don't understand why we're even bringing it up. We're bringing it up because the title is they thought he was FBA. Well, Tariq does this a lot with a lot of people. He did this with Nipsey Hussle. He does it with Beyonce. He does it with a lot of people that have one foreign black parent, where he picks and chooses who is going to be a representative. And then when he doesn't like them, like a Roland Martin, who has one Haitian grandparent, he is a non-FBA all of a sudden. So a lot of people don't know that unless you have followed how Tariq Nasheed has been defining what FBA is. That's why it's not an ethnic definition. It's really a club. It's based off of who he says he likes. If he thinks you're cool enough to represent what he calls FBA, you're FBA.
This is the issue that I have again. I know Black Americans, we know that they have achieved a lot. But entertainment or sport, when you walk into the workplace that you are engineer as a Black person or an accountant, they will always doubt you because they think all Black people know is entertainment, right? And I think entertainment, yeah, it's good thing, but Black success should not be measured by entertainment anymore. And it's sad that when you walk among white people, they would think that this guy doesn't belong here. All you need to is to go and become a rapper or football player. And it's sad that our success is always being measured by athletes, entertainers, and it's not taking Black people anywhere. I think that's why we've been at the bottom of everything in America. And it's sad.
Yeah, but that's
because
good, CD. That
my
goes for Africa.
workplace where
That
I
goes for
work,
Africa also, CD. That
yeah,
because you can
my
say even in Africa it's the same thing. You know, most of the apart of Dangote and some of the few billionaires in Nigeria have, most Africans are just entertainers. In England, most of the footballers are Africans. You know, the artists are Africans, like Afrobeat and all this. We're just entertainers globally. It's not just Black Americans.
No, but what I'm saying that our success should
you know.
not be measured by entertainment. That's what I'm saying. Where I work, I'm the only Black person, right? So if I decide to, I don't go to the office, but at least once in the year I go to the office, right? But when I go and meet a new employee and being the only Black person, his thinking would be like, this guy probably doesn't belong here, right? He should be a football player or entertainer somewhere, right? So this year on Tuesday, I went to the office. I met your employee, right? And he asked me, "Oh, you work here?" I said, "Yeah." How long you been here? I said, "I've been working for the past 6 years." But I could tell from his face that his reaction was more of like, how can this guy be the only Black person here? Maybe he's here because of affirmative action. You're right. He doesn't even belong here. And it's sad that our success should always be mentioned by someone like Beyonce, Jay-Z, and not only Terry. I mean, I see a lot of Black people when they talk about success, they when they talk about entertainers.
Hey, do you really believe that? Do you really believe what you're saying?
Well, I was just him. That's how white people think of Black people globally, right? They'll see. Let's say a Nigerian doctor or a Nigerian engineer, and they think it's just a phenomenon, and everybody else is subhuman. That's how they think of
Right.
us, whether you're
I
black
mean,
and
I mean,
American,
CD.
Yeah,
and
which is sad.
African American. That's how they think.
Hold on,
It's
hold
like
on.
racism, but we talk about systematic racism, white racism. That's how white racism looks at us. It's like you're some phenomenon. Nobody else can do it. You did it. I don't know what happened. Something happened in the genes, but and allowed you to do it. But the other race, your other people in your race are subhuman. That's how racist white people think.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, but
CD, do you really believe what
deliberate.
you
It's not.
said though?
It
Can I
shows no
ask you, CD, a
And
question?
that's why we promote.
I mean,
What?
do you really believe what you said though? As far as like black people only are seen as entertainers, do you really believe that?
Yeah,
It's not about belief.
right. Yeah,
Look.
because
It's
every
visible.
success, everybody that I see speaking
But
here
how
in
did you get your
America,
position? You joined the Black Organization for Accountants.
NABA. The name is
Yeah,
NABA.
black accountants.
Right.
So
But
none of them black
yeah,
people got a job. Just you.
right. But that's the type of organization I want black people to be known for.
I mean, that's a
Right.
black
We should
organization.
be hired based on different talent,
Like, listen.
different professions,
When people
but not
study,
all should not be based on entertainment.
when people go to
Which is
school to
very sad.
study, when people go to study AI, when they go to study medicine, when they go to study modern mathematics, they're studying Black Americans' achievements. Like, we actually modernized like all of that. You wouldn't have
That-
any type of modern computing. You wouldn't have AI. You wouldn't have like the blood plasma, heart transplants. Like, we're not known just for entertainment. That's just
Yeah, but
that's just an
why we can't
extra.
talk about that? Why we
That's
can't
just
talk
something we're
about that
just
instead of talk
actually
about
good at
Beyonce?
too. Like, we're
If you talk about
comedians,
that,
scientists too.
we'll be like, well done.
Yeah.
Don't think we
Like, this is
listen. Don't
actually
think we
known
against.
facts. Like
This is what we love. We love
even
to hear that.
architecture. Like, one of the greatest architects is from
These are the
California,
things you should be coming here
Paul
promoting, not
Williams.
division.
Yeah, but
You should
you
be
see
coming
all
You
here
these
just
promoting
achievements
choose
that
these
not
black
to
things.
people
talk
have
about it.
had, all the
No, but
achievements we have
you're
had
not
in this
talking about it.
country,
All you do is talk about
through
division.
everything. That could talk about entertainment. Why you can talk about all these scientists that we had before? You see, you and
Yeah.
I are on the same page, right?
What do you mean how we
I
don't
don't
talk
have
about the
anything. I
scientists that
don't
we
have
had before?
anything. I don't have anything against
Honestly,
Beyonce,
you need to stop. You need to slow down, bro. Come on,
but we
because
have created
basically,
more Beyonce,
see,
more
let me
Beyonce.
just say one thing to M, right? M, you need to slow down because the thing is, you think all Africans are the same and all Africans are against Black Americans. All Africans want the downfall of Black America. Or I understand the mindset you have towards Africans based on the transatlantic slavery and also what happened in Liberia. I'm with you on that. Most Africans who have common sense are also with you on that, and also you don't want to be associated with group of people who migrated to your country not long ago, having to be bunched in, as one group, and the same people who actually sold their ancestors as slaves and also benefiting the same thing that you're benefiting. You don't want to break bread with them. That's fine. I understand that. But, to think all Africans are the same or all Africans are against Black Americans or they want the downfall of Black Americans, that's not true. That's just delusional. And that's not in my experience.
I mean, as
And
far as like,
we share country. Sierra Leone, we share country with African Americans who came back, as free slaves. We share country with the Caribbeans, the Maroons in Sierra Leone who came back as free slaves, and also Nigerian and other West African tribes. We lived together with harmony. We had war. We suffered together. We came back and we built together, and we interbreed and intermarried together. There's different success. Just because that did not go well in Liberia doesn't mean Liberia represent the entire African continent or in fact the whole West Africa. It's not. So just stop that, man. It's about time you just like wind it down a little bit.
I
Okay.
mean, regardless of all of that, like as far as what we want and whatnot, all I'm saying is when you look at reality and objectivity, there's really nothing that Africa has provided us.
Africa have provided so many things globally before
Where the
Europeans,
country at? Where's the land?
But when
Mali.
in the M, I
Okay, I'll name Mali, the Mali Empire, the Oyo, the
I'm talking
Benin.
about where's the land that we
The
have ownership of in Africa right now.
if you have you ever lobbied for Angon? Have you ever lobbied for a land? Do you think you can just go to Africa to give you land because you're Black American? No.
I
You have
try
to
to
go
speak
and
truth
look
to
at this.
power. Like somebody got to talk
Well,
about it.
bro,
Like y'all
speak to
took the
if
little
you form
land
an
we had in
organization,
Liberia.
if you form if you form Liberians are here. American Liberians are still in Liberia. They're still there. They're still living with the locals. They married intermarriage. They're still doing those are used to do well. They're still doing well. You know, you can join them anytime. Nobody's stopping you. And that's a country that's designed for you know for all of you guys. But what I'm trying to say is like stop like this divisive mindset. It's not nice. We're not your
I
enemies,
mean,
bro.
you listen to
You know who
CD
your
talk
true
all this
enemies are.
negativity, right? And CD actually benefited from a Black American organization. He's talking about
Yes, he
entertainers,
did not
and
deny
No,
that.
no,
But
no.
he
But
said,
I
he
mean,
studied
M,
economics from and he joined the Black organization.
mm,
What I'm saying is that when you mentioned the other day that you're an architect, I was proud of you. This is what I want to hear, right? I don't want
mm,
to be hearing every Beyonce
I
or
mean,
Alicia Keys. We
Beyonce
have
is like
had
a
thousands
modern
of
day.
that for the past
Like you ever heard of
400
Queen
years.
Anne? You
What
ever
is
heard
the
of a woman
benefit?
named? You ever heard of Queen Anne, Mister
Are you gonna be talking about this
Africa
for the
Africa?
rest of the show? Because you'll take this
I'm
one
gonna
little
I'm
Queen
gonna get
thing
up
Anne.
out of
that
here. You ever heard of
CD
Queen
said,
Anne?
and you talk about it for the rest of the show, man. We got a show to go
Have you
on,
ever
man.
heard of Queen Anne, Mister Africa Africa?
No.
Yeah, no, you educate me.
She was married to King James. They had about 9 kids, but she was also an actress. And one of her most famous plays was called The Mask of Blackness, where they actually dressed up like Africans. And in there they talk
Is
about
that Queen
Leo
Charlotte? Is that
they
Queen
talk about
Charlotte you're
Leo
talking
the
about?
African, the one of the scholars from Africa. I read one of his books. They got the name CD up in there, and also they talk about how they came from the Niger River up, and then they went
Okay.
from the Niger River to Europe. That's in that play. But she was an actress. That was what she was mainly famous for, and then a singer. So Beyonce is like we have singers, actresses, we have scholars, entertainers, musicians. We have Shakespeare. He's a writer. I'm like, what's wrong with a person being a singer?
No, I don't have problem with
We
it. I
have
don't want these
Mozart.
people to
We
be
have
our role
Beethoven.
model. They've been our role model for years. What is the benefit?
We got
It's almost
we
like
have Ida B. Wells also.
Entertainers cannot be our leaders.
You heard
yeah,
about
Entertainers cannot
exactly.
be
Ida
our
B.
leaders.
Wells?
We
It's the
never throughout African
entertainers.
history,
Ida
throughout
B.
Black
Wells is
history,
not an
entertainers
entertainer.
look throughout Black history, entertainers have never been our leaders. Okay, and they should never be our leaders.
Nah.
It's a country that it never belonged to us. These are
Guys, can
countries
you
that
can you
been
pass the
forced
mic? We got
on
new
us.
people on the
All
panel.
right.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Anyway, well, the
All right, let me
irony.
pass the mic to Mansake. Go ahead, Mansake.
Peace and love to the chat. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
I just think this is a interesting topic. I mean, I hope everyone caught the message what Tariq was saying. He was like saying, man, man, Africans, man, they don't fight, man. They don't fight like us. I mean, I don't know if everyone read those comments on Twitter. I mean, on X. He was talking real greasy, right? Just to find out that the person who was pressing the Argentinian dude was Nigerian, right? Thought it was pretty funny, but other than that, let me just say it's like, man, like the other guy who was here, I think a couple of days ago, he said that he could tell what people look like. I guess either you could tell the difference between a Haitian and Jamaican, right? Give you a prime example. I went to Puerto Rico with my FBA dude, right? We went there. He started speaking to us in Spanish in Puerto Rico, right? We went to Kenya. He started speaking to us in Swahili in Kenya. Went to South Africa. They started speaking to us in Zulu, right? So unless you open your mouth, you really don't know who or where that person's from. You know what I'm saying? Damn, of course I was gonna say too. But I was just saying that, like, can't judge a book by its cover, man. And seemed like Tyree got egg on his face. But that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, let me just come in.
Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Dice. Hello to you on the panel in the chat. Look, I wish M was on. I wanted to address him today. I'm in the mood today. Pause. But your people didn't build anything in Liberia. What is his name? M. Your people stayed in Arkansas and Mississippi. They were probably sharecroppers. They didn't have the balls to leave and go to Africa and build a nation. So your ancestors didn't build anything there. The people that went there, their family, their descendants, their ancestors built Liberia, not yours. So the fact that you keep harping on this thing is embarrassing. Maybe if you go down to Mississippi and Arkansas, you probably find a plot of land or maybe a house that your ancestors built, not in Liberia. So every time you come and make that claim, it's just shameful. And we have Africa booty clapping for you, like trying to be all cozy with you. This guy is a nobody. I don't have to appease him when he comes up with that stupid rhetoric that he had Liberia and we took it from him. You didn't have shit unless you can prove to us that any of your ancestors built anything, tilled a plot of land or did anything, planted anything in that country. Then you have a claim to it. Well, you ain't got no claim to it. Your ancestors stayed in America. They were too coward to go to Africa and start anew. So we don't want to hear that bullshit. But like what Mansik was saying is true, and it's a case in point that you can't tell Black Africans apart from quote unquote African Americans, especially Nigerians. That's what a lot of people. I don't get the African American Nigerian hate because a lot of Nigerians, men especially, they look like African American men. Most Nigerians, especially the Yorubas, can grow 4 beards. If you see them, you think that's just a regular Black guy. Now, if he was a South African, you probably would have told, could tell because they have a different, a slightly different phenotype than West Africans. Or even if he was an East African, like a Somali or Kenya, you could probably tell the difference. So, when African Americans say we don't look alike, what they're really saying is we have admixture. And some of us are lighter skin. We have, a bit of a straighter, curlier hair. So we have a different appearance than the West Africans who barely have any admixture. But it's a silly thing. And like somebody said, Mansik said, Tariq had, egg on his face because the rhetoric he's been pushing, that rhetoric came back and proved him wrong because he couldn't distinguish that guy was Nigerian by looking at him or even hearing how he spoke, that he was an African, not a, quote unquote FBA. So, I mean, it's silly, but I really wanted to engage with him because I'm ready to debunk all the nonsense that he's been propagating because those people who started Liberia, they're heroes. I think what they did was noble. The fact that they funded the country was noble and they did a good thing initially. But then when you have a system, for 133 years that gatekeep, upward mobility and upward trajectory socially and, economically, and keep it in close proximity to only 5% of the population and get little trinkets to, quote unquote natives who you allow into your club, you're going to have problems. And also during the 70s and the 80s, when you had a lot of coup and revolutions going on in Africa, the time was ripe. There was the right time for people to want a revolution and be more involved in their government. So we didn't come together and have a meeting and say, oh, we're going to go take out the American Liberians. It was by opportunity, that they were taken out. When what is his name? Jerry Rawlings went into Ghana and overthrew the government and killed a lot of the officials. Did he hate them because they were African Americans? No. That's what happened during coups. They didn't kill them because they hated them inherently because they were quote unquote American Liberians. No. Military, people came and took over power from many other African countries, killed a lot of people. Same thing happened to Haile Selassie. Mengistu Haile Mariam, he committed regicide. He killed the king, the emperor, and buried him under a toilet. Did he hate him? Did he hate Selassie because he was a foreigner from a different place? No. There was a lot of revolution that was going on. So when he come up with that nonsense and he's uninformed, don't try to placate to him. I know CD is here. He's not as aggressive as I would be, but today, if he was on the platform, I'm ready to deal with him. Usually I try to give him grace, but today it's a good day, so maybe he'll come back on. But that's all for now. I'll pass the mic.
All right, go
How
ahead,
did I
Bray.
put? How am I put the clap into the man?
Hey, we pass the mic. Bray Zane. Go ahead, Bray Zane. Brazen, you gotta unmute yourself. Brazen, you gotta unmute yourself. Okay.
Well, looks like he ain't got nothing to say.
Well, hold on. Go ahead, Brazen.
Yeah. Please come back around to me, brother. I need to gather some thoughts here.
Okay. All right. Well, just call back in.
Look, we have to have a balanced approach in how we have our conversation. We cannot be one-sided. And if you were to explain to M what you just said now, and how event took place in Liberia, not telling him that you kick the black Americans because you were marginalized, maybe he would have had a different tools. That's the reason why I'm saying most of the time, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all because those words can come and haunt you back. We're on the platform. Um, I don't know what happened in Liberia too well, but in Sierra Leone, we managed to live with others, in peace. We never had, differences, among those people that came to settle. I don't know if it's our mindset or not. However, I agree. Around those times, when you read history, there are a lot of countries that was having revolutions, and maybe that's what took place in Liberia. A part of the Civil War, because the Civil War came in later on. But as as an African, we have a duty to tell the truth and also accept our wrongdoing as people. African Americans also should be doing the same thing. Otherwise, we're never going to have a common ground. Civility is the best way, at all costs, especially when it comes to Black people, because we've been victimized by we know who for too long. There are a lot of you know um, people who are infiltrating us, so we don't have unity within our cultures and our societies and our countries. So we should bear that in mind when we speak. I pass the mic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me just come in quickly. So yeah, I mean the irony here is that the people pushing this FBA movement are not even full FBA, and that's a cause for concern. You got people there who are pushing all these agendas, and they're not even full FBA. But all I have to say, if the real FBAs wanna obviously establish something, and if they want to establish something, they have to really take this seriously and move away from people like Tariq Nasheed, and move away from certain people, because I think this could be a great thing. I mean, it could be a
Mm.
great thing for them to uh, consolidate themselves, as people, because they've not been able to do that for quite some time. And who's that talking? Someone's talking there. I can hear some background noise.
CD, I think it's your voice muted. We
I'm
don't want to
muted.
have.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, if FBAs wanna take this seriously, the real FBAs, not the ones pushing their agenda and they're not full FBA. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's something that it could be a great thing, for them to consolidate themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they've not been able to do something like that. And yeah, it will help them greatly, in terms of unifying them, and giving them some economic power as well, giving them some leverage as well. So yeah, if they want to do that, that's absolutely fine. I ain't got a problem with that. But they need to start, putting down some proper structures and some proper foundations, in order to be taken seriously. Because if you go to anyone else, and you're trying to push this type of an agenda, and you've got all this, you know, unstructured, things are all over the place. There's no like real unification, then people are not going to take you seriously. You're just going to be a laughing stock, like it is right now. As you can see, with Tariq Nasheed making blunders, they can't even differentiate between certain groups and everything else. That's just blunders. That's not to be taken seriously. You can't take people like that seriously. You can't take any organization seriously, like that. So yeah, I think if they want to move forward, they need to move away from Tariq Nasheed. They need to form
Mm.
something more solid. So yeah, anyway, I'll pass the mic now.
So I want to come to what Aris was saying. I think it's something amount of true what he said, because when the revolution, first of all, the person that started the Liberian Revolution was Baco Matthew. right? Malcolm Matthew was African American. He was Congo. Charles Taylor, who worked for Doe government, he was African American. I mean, he is African American because he's in prison right now. He was the GSC director. So it was not like the revolution was against 100% against African Americans. No, people did it because of their different sort of interests into whoever come into leadership. I remember when Africa in Africa spoke about this guy Dr. Boomer Formula. He worked for
Oh
Doe
yeah,
government.
Meata Fambule.
Yeah, but their bigger brother,
Is she
Dr. Boomer
Mende? Is
Formula.
she Mende or Vi? Okay, is it Mende or Vi?
They are Vi, but they
Yeah,
are more
Vi.
of like a half Congo, right? So
No,
they,
his mother is Gribble from
uh
Kipamas. His father is a Vi.
right,
He was a former ambassador to Kenya for Liberia.
exactly, right, and he was a professor at the University
Okay.
of Liberia. So he was educated by Tobo. So they were
She's
all
from the
part of
Mano
the
River, yeah? Because
right,
she look like they sound like Mano people to me.
right. But so they
She's
they
from the
were
Mano River.
educated. They were educated by Tobo government, and then when Doe
Mm.
came, because he never had the way he expected Doe to rule the country. It did not go his way anyway. He fought apart with Doe. Same with Malcolm Matthew. So politicians will always go after their interests, but at the same time, they will divide people on the racial line, right? To say, well, we are Congo people, or we are Grebo people, we are Crown people. But there was a lot of African Americans that were working with the PRC government,
Right.
right? Most of them.
It just came to my mind. Let me just make this real quick, just for Africa.
Yeah.
His daughter that he had, who is half Sierra Leonean. Now it's a bit of a tragedy in a way because
Okay.
Boyma Famula went to Freetown when he left the
Mm.
Dole government. He fled to Freetown, almost in exile, and in there he formulated a 1985 coup, a
Yeah,
failed coup, what we
with
call it, yeah,
Kyumpa. Yep.
with
Hmm.
Kuyampa.
Yep.
And that was a catalyst for a lot of atrocity that happened in Liberia. That really
Yep.
accelerated the killing because what he did was he called Thomas Quimpa, who had fled Liberia after Samuel Doe, he and Samuel Doe fell off. He came to
Mhm.
America to his wife. I think he was in Rhode Island or Delaware, somewhere on the East Coast. And Boyman family kept, encouraging him, prying him to go back to Liberia and overthrow Samuel Doe. And eventually he went there. In 1985, in November, he tried to do a coup. The coup was almost successful, but he didn't finish the job. And Samuel Doe,
Mm.
his guys came from the barracks from Shuffling, and it was just
The
it
counter
was
coup.
yeah,
Yep.
the counter coup was ridiculous, and it was very very violent. So just a little
Mm.
tidbit of history of who Boyma family is. That's probably where he met Miata family's mother when he was in
So,
Freetown for that time.
In Sierra Leone.
Why he was planning that coup in 1985. So I just want to get that little tidbit.
yeah,
Go
Well,
ahead.
thank you.
Miata is she's actually becoming a very powerful woman in the United Kingdom politics. In fact,
And no,
she's
they are
yeah.
educated
No,
family. They
she
from
is.
a
No, I know, no, but no, I know, no. But what I'm trying to say is, she's one of the people who brought the last prime minister down. She's one of the first members of parliament who resigned, and that
She's
triggered the
also
other. Mm,
she's also named after her auntie Miata family, who was a great musician in Liberia,
yeah,
well-known
and
musician.
she's the current prime minister who just came to replace the former one. She's like the brain of this current prime minister. So she's at the moment, she's the most powerful black politician I would say in the UK. Just to let you guys know.
So I mean,
Yeah.
if people say, well, the native went against the African American leadership in Africa, I mean in Liberia, it wasn't like that. People had different interests. There were African Americans that were supporting Samuel Doe. They worked in Samuel Doe government. Some of them stole money like Charles Taylor. He was the GSC director when he stole money, right? The Malcolm Matthew who brought the rice riot against Trouble, he was African Americans. So, people use that type of politics to divide people, right? It was not like, oh, okay, we should kill all African Americans that came in this country. No. Even though when Trouble was overthrown, there are people like Philip Packard, he was a multimillionaire that had businesses all over the place, right? Though did not destroy his business, he was still working without these, African American businessmen, right? So, you should go back and read what really happened in Liberia. Don't always say, well, the native just want to kill the Congo people. No, that's not how it
Is back,
happened.
so this is gonna be interesting. Let's hear what he got to say. 'Cause I want to hear him.
Yeah, but it's my turn, and
Yeah, I mean, let's not make Elvis Elvis. I know you're in the mood. Just leave it, man. Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, no,
Allow it.
that's not him. That's Maya sisters. Go ahead, Miss Sisters.
Oh,
Unmute
okay.
yourself. Miss Sisters, you're gonna mute yourself. Miss Sisters, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
We hear you now.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought I was mute. I was going over to do something. I just have a question, and I think it's City. Is that how you say your name?
CD.
CD.
Yep.
Okay. And are you an African immigrant or are you an African national? I'm not quite clear because I want to have a conversation with you.
Oh, I'm African immigrant from Liberia. My name is Sidibe. My last name is Sidibe.
Sidibe. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay.
I'm from Madingo tribe.
Ooh.
We have 16 tribes in Liberia. My tribe is one of the 16 tribes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I would just like to have a conversation with you because, you've been able to articulate a point about FBA that I would like to pursue a little bit further, and I want to know what you think.
Okay.
All right. I will admit that Tariq Nasheed, that his definition on FBA is problematic. It appears to be dynamic, and at times I am not clear on who would qualify as FBA because it seems to be a moving target. And whoever said that in previously, I believe you're right, but that's my opinion. But here is my question for you. And even though there are limitations with FBA that I have, I still support delineation for this one reason. And that is this. When Black immigrants become US citizens, and the difference between when whites became US citizens. Whites who became US citizens, many of them were from Europe, and they could trace their ancestors with documents to a particular location in Europe. The issue that I have, and the question that I want you to answer is, FBA, unlike white immigrants, we cannot trace our African ancestor to a specific location and directly to those kinship ties. So my question is, why is that not discriminatory against FBA? Do you understand my question?
Ask your question again. I didn't hear that last part.
Okay. If white immigrants who came into the country,
right,
they can trace their ancestors in Europe and also their kinship ties, and they are not being called upon to claim European American. Why is it that foundational Black Americans who cannot trace their ancestors on the African continent to a particular country or a particular tribe or kin, how is that not discriminatory? why should there be different measurements for FBA compared to other ethnic groups in the United States?
Well, I will go down. I will see an example with, let's say, for example, the Italians, right? The New York Italians, right? If George Clooney or Robert De Niro go to Italy, right? They have an Italian name, right? And the Italians in New York, they will call them Italian American. When you go to Be Rich, Brooklyn, we know their neighborhood. They will identify themselves as an Italian, right? Wherever I meet an Irish person, they will say I'm Irish and Americans, right? And they don't have to tell you, say, well, I'm from Ireland, or they don't have to tell you, say, I'm from Italy. But if they go back to Italy, the Italians, when even though they have an Italian name, they will not consider them to be Italian. They will call them Americans. But what different from the Europeans and the African Americans, they came in this country, they came to America as a slave. Their name was stripped away from them, right? Their identity was stripped away from them. They came here as a slave. Whereas for the Italians, they came here for opportunity in America, right? Green pasture. They came here because America was a melting pot. They came here because there were a lot of opportunity and they came able to survive when they in America. And bear in mind, they went through the same discrimination that the African Americans are going through right now. The Irish went through it, the Italians went through it. But to
Nah,
say that,
they didn't go through the same. You gotta stop saying that.
I'm
That's
not making a comparison, sir. I'm saying they went
you
through
said
some sort of
yes, they
discrimination no
did.
matter
You
what.
said they went through the same. They didn't go through the same.
Okay, it may not be the same magnitude. I'm wrong in that case. It may not be the same magnitude. That's what I said. The African American was stripped away from all their identity, their name, their identity, everything was taken away from them, right? But there's a history that we know very well where they came from. So when you're making that comparison, it's very hard for you to make that comparison. When you said George Clooney, yeah, we know George Clooney is an Italian name. Robert De Niro is
No,
an
actually,
Italian
George
name.
Clooney is from Ireland. Robert De Niro is from Italy.
Okay, let's say, no, I think he's Italian. They're both Italian.
No. He's from Ireland.
Okay. All right, okay, let's say he's from Ireland, but they have the Irish name, and Robert De Niro, he has an Irish name. But the Italians know very well these guys, they are Italian, right? So it's almost like the way the African Americans will say, well, Africans don't even consider to be African. And that's not true. I have my son and my daughter, when I'm with them, when they do certain things, I would say, well, these are American kids. I'm not going to say these are Black American kids because the behavior, the attitude is kind of different, right? All African sometimes call their kid in that perspective. Same way with Italian. When Italian American go to
So,
Italy,
so you
they would.
got so see quickly, right? You have to
Mhm,
agree with the African Americans when they say they're not Africans, because the same thing you're saying, my
mhm,
parents said it to me. Less so now that I do with my kids,
right.
but they say that we have American kids because what it means to be African is the culture, liking the food that we used to eat. A lot of our kids don't like the food that we ate as kids, growing up, CD, you know that. So
Right.
just their mindset and the things that they like is different. The way they see things is different. So an African American who hasn't been to Africa, hasn't been exposed to the culture, the language, the way of talking, the way of understanding and thinking, when they say they're not Africans, because to be African, it means something. I can get along with a Nigerian. I could get along with a Ghanaian on an
Right.
African level, but our kids probably won't be able to get along with the African kids from Ghana or Nigeria if they went there. So there's nothing wrong with African Americans saying they're not African by
Oh, oh,
culture,
oh, yeah, yeah.
but by
No.
race, we're
Mhm.
Black African people. I think they can admit that.
They seem to
Right,
be
right.
getting along just fine.
It's almost like my son.
My question was
Mhm.
that you really didn't hone in on my question, and that is there are two different measures in the United States to define ethnicity. For white ethnic groups, it's based upon documentation. directly to their country of origin. But with foundational Black Americans, we are called upon to accept the African label, but there is no documentation that states what the direct tie is to Africa. White ethnic groups, they are not using genetics or DNA. So if white ethnics are not using DNA, then why is it that there has to be a requirement for foundational Black Americans to use DNA in order as a reason for stating that they're African?
I think Jesse
But
J.
because the fact that they were stripped of their identity, and no, in Africa being a 54 state, so the easier way for them to know which part of Africa they came from, they have to use DNA to do a DNA test to know which part of Africa they came from.
You know,
And I understand it, and then
you're actually proving her point.
we cannot change this. The only person, because if you look on the job application, they have Spanish and whatever the group is, they group everybody in that way. They classify African and African Americans. If the FBA are really serious to delineate from the Africans, they have to talk to the federal government where every job application they should put FBA, because going on social media
Thank you. I've been saying
and
this
causing
a
a lot
long
of
time, please.
noise and dividing people will not solve the problem, because some people using it as to make money, some people use it to use as a survival of income, and I believe that's it. But if you are really serious, you have to go to Congress
But
and put it
see,
into Congress, tell them, well, we have
It has to be
FBA on
done.
the
I think
They have to do it.
it's in reference
so,
to a
so somebody
historical
like Miss
because
Meyer's sister, right, who's very intelligent. She knows history. She knows that it was a concerted effort by the white slave master to detach Africans from their Africanness. They took the name, they took their history from them. But the one thing that you can see when you look at yourself and you look at Africans is that you look similar. So you know that there's a link between yourself and the Africans. So if you try to say that, well, we're not African inherently because we're just not African. No, there was an effort, to take that Africanness out of you
Okay,
and
let me
give
say
you,
this real quick.
and give you no identity, so that you'll be like a clean slate, and the white man can impress upon your people a new identity
Okay,
that you're
guys, let me
now
say
running
this right
with
here.
and think
Let me say
that
this
you're
right
not
here.
attached to
Yeah,
Africa.
someone want to have a word, Elvis.
Yeah, go ahead, guys. I'll pass.
Well, let me read the super chat real quick. Moose Room 3368. Thank you for $2 holla. From a Salone bro to my Liberian bro, Kudosto rebuttal.
Okay, let me say this right
Yes,
quick.
sir. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, let me say this right quick. So there was an African continuity that, even though they took a lot of our culture, right, from slavery, that still went on in our genetics, right? Things that, even the way we talk, you can hear that African continuity. A lot of our slang words, end with A and stuff like that. That's what the whole Ebonics movement was about, right? Our African continuity, and that's why a lot of Pan Africanists and Afrocentrists they basically tried to make that a language for us, right? So we do have a culture. Secondly, so we are African Americans, and we do have African culture. We just got placed. Our culture didn't stop. You wouldn't say that white culture is the same as Black American culture. No white American would agree with that. It's not the same, right? Because they believe that we do things differently, different culturally.
So, Big Black, what would you say to Smokey Robinson when he said, "I'm not African. There's nothing about me that's African. I've never been to Africa"? What would you say to somebody like that?
Yeah, I would say I was clueless to him to say that. I definitely disagree with Smokey Robinson. But you see, there's a dynamic too that we don't talk about, right? A lot of people that are of the lighter skin persuasion, they tend more to lean away from Africa, right? So that's a problem within itself, within the colorism spectrum of African Americans, right? Even if you look at Tariq, one of the guys that Tariq leads upon, Claude Claude Anderson, and what was his name? He's real light skinned, right? And he
Dr.
was one
Claude
of the,
Anderson.
yeah, and he was one of the people that Tariq got his ideas from. The whole we we're not African and blah blah blah. He got that from Claude Anderson. But all the rest of the people that were in his films, if you know, they were Pan Africanists, right? Everyone from John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Francis Chris Wilson, Amos Wilson. Most of the people in his little museum are African Americans. Matter of fact, he could have never got off that FBA movement without the Pan Africanism that he tried to project in his hidden colors, right? Even though there was some fallacies in it, but there was a lot of Pan Africanism being shown. You know, he had Dr. Umar in a couple of videos, you know, and we all know Dr. Umar was trying to push Pan Africanism, whether you don't like him or not. But going back to the term FBA, the whole thing is, I could say yes, we probably should have maybe a different name, you know, as far as like a different name for our like ethnic group, right? You know, so the confusion can die down. But FBA is not the name for it. The reason why is because it's tainted. It's tainted full of xenophobia, right? The maker of the name, Tariq Nasheed, right? He made the name, right? He coined the name. He trademarked the name. All he does is 4 times a day is push out xenophobic rhetoric.
So what would be your solution for the name that African Americans should be called now?
I would say it shouldn't be FBA.
Hey, y'all, well, real quick, shout out to CD for the $20 holla via Zelle. Appreciate you, CD. Thank you so much.
I would say whatever it would be, it shouldn't be FBA because it's already from the root. It's tainted. It's tainted with xenophobia.
No, I hear that. What's your solution? Salon, Freeman.
Say what foundation African American anything but FBA is tainted. You know
I'm saying come up with something, Big Black. Forget the FBA. We get your point.
But I think it's a great idea. We think it's a great idea, you know what I'm saying, for you to consolidate yourselves. But, you know,
it's
interchangeable.
But like I said, the FBA name is already riddled with hatred. It's riddled with a whole bunch of xenophobia behind it. When you have a lot of African Americans that wouldn't want to get behind the name FBA. Hey, look, let's be real now. Tariq doesn't have any big players in the Democratic Party, right? Which is a lot of black people in. We talked about the black Congressional Congress, right? They're not going to okay FBA. Let's be real. They're not going to okay the FBA to be used interchangeably with African American. He already made enemies with those folks. The black people that are big in politics, right? In Washington, he made enemies with them. So that name is dead on arrival. It's not going to pass through their hands. So the only thing this name is, the only reason why Tariq handlers have made this name so prevalent in YouTube is to divide and conquer. That's all it is. And it's, you know, we have to say enough is enough and fight against that. Because why you gotta ask, why would non-white people want to divide and conquer? They want to, it's obvious they want to leave somebody in the African world vulnerable where there won't be any help if a society that's dominated by non-black people move in on those.
Very true. Very true.
Let's be real. So, you know, FBA right now, it's a terrible name to name ourselves because Tariq Nasheed, unfortunately, tainted the name. He tainted it bad, and we should not use the name.
Yeah, it's been tainted, isn't it? I mean,
I can agree with the lady to say, okay, we need a new name, but FBA is not the name. But
I think a name change has to have a political objective.
Sorry, the lady.
So you can't. So anytime you want to do a type of a separation, there has to be a political objective, like an outcome that's looking to be reached, a goal that's looking to be reached.
What they're saying that here's the thing. I can agree with this, right? There's every black person that comes to America, they're going to be labeled Black American. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, you know, because they're pretty much American and they're black. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. Okay, I can
That's not
understand
true.
that.
That's not true anymore. The 2030 census disaggregates the Black community. There's going to be Black American for what people would consider FBA, and then all the Black immigrants, they have to identify by their country of origin, Haitian American.
Okay.
That was already on the
Okay.
2020 census. That's
So
the thing.
so
That was already on the
is that
2020
is,
census.
Well, if that's
so
the
so
case, delineation problems
is that already in law? Is that already in law? Is that already in
For
law or it's
listen,
just
yeah, for
proposal?
census taking, I saw the 2020 census because I saw it when it came to my crib. So the 2020 census already had on there to choose race, you choose black, and then it had different options. They put in a checkbox the more prominent countries of that black
Of
foreigners come
origin.
from: Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Ethiopian, so on and so forth.
Okay.
And then if your country wasn't on there, you write it in on the other checkbox. So they
Is that
already
on
have
census?
that on the census.
What
What I'm
But
saying is
not on
that,
nationality, or not in terms of nationality though. Where
yeah, in
does
terms
that
of
fit?
nationality. Now, the thing about it is, like I said before,
But
any
you see how crafty they are? They put that on the census but not on the nationality. Is that
no,
something
this is it's a sense thing. They just kind of want to know. They do this with Latinos too, by the way. I mean, when you
yeah,
go check
but
Latino,
how
Hispanic,
if but they took their time to do it on the census but not on the nationality?
no, no, no,
Is
no,
that
no.
a hidden
Listen,
agenda on here?
there's not a hidden agenda. You have ethnic, and you have ethnicity, and you have race. You have nationality. Now,
I agree
those,
with that. That's not the point. The point is why, if they're happy to do it on the census, why can't they do the same thing on the nationality?
So my thing is, my question here is, I don't know what they're going to do with the black people from Britain, because they've been one of the successful group right now. As you know, it's because one of the attitude of American, right? If you have a British accent, whether you are a white person or black person, you come to America, they always identify you as success or educated person, right? So let us say one of my professors used to say that when you from, all you need to do is to have a British accent and put on your resume that you're from Cambridge. You can be professor at Princeton. So if you look at the movie business right now, movie industry, they tend to focus on more black actors from Britain because they have a British accent, and they tend to get more contract compared to black Americans. So my thing is, if they're going to do that, are they going to put the black British as black British, or because most of the black British they have African origin? So I don't know how they're going to handle that anyway. So
No,
they
look,
they would simply put
the
in
black
the
people
other.
in Britain, the black people in Britain
Yeah,
are but very successful. Even the kids in school today, the black African kids are top on all level when it comes to education. The black people here are quite resilient. You know, especially the African group. We already had division in the past. We actually worked, on that and actually come together. The black Caribbeans and the black Africans, or black British, were very united in one thing that we should actually take ourselves out of the mess that we found ourselves
We've
in.
had similar
And
problems, haven't we? We've had
yeah, we
similar
have,
problems.
but we
Well,
walked away from that and come together, right? So,
yeah,
Yes,
but
yes.
let me finish my point. I don't want to be disrespectful. I haven't finished my point, and I'm going to keep it brief. I'm not going to be long winded. What I'm saying is that
no
anytime a
problem.
group of people decide to change their name and identity, you have to have a political goal in mind. Is it separation? Is it something that you're trying to get, like a reparations? If the reparations is the reason why someone wanted to separate themselves from other groups so they can have a defined identity that leads towards an objective of receiving reparations, then that would be the reason why they would do it. If reparations is not the reason, and it's something else, such as even something far beyond that, such as separation, then it becomes a different ballgame. So when you look at globally, any group that wants to separate from another section of the country, whether it's be a Basque separatist in Spain, right? You have the Catalonia region in Spain. Some of those people want to separate from the rest of Spain. You have people in Amazonia in Cameroon. You have the Biafran separatist movement in Nigeria. You have the Kurdish separatist movement in the Middle East. These groups create their own organizations with their own identity framework to say, we are calling ourselves this particular entity because we want to either complete separation. Because I think there is no desire for complete separation, which again, it's going to be impossible to have complete separation in the United States as for Black people. It's just, that'll be hard. It would be even easier in some ways for Mexicans to do it, because if they get China, Russia as an ally, and Mexico decides that they want to go to war with the United States and get back the entire Southwest, that's something that's actually, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a slight probability that could happen, right? So when you don't, if the idea of being a Black American and separating from everybody else is one thing, you have to now have separation from other ethnic groups. What do I mean by that? All these other separatist groups that I named, they do not marry and they do not desire to marry or intermix with the other groups they plan on separating from. That's one of the big problems.
Yeah, you got it. That's a great point, CJ.
Yeah, because
I never thought about it like that. That's a great point.
Exactly, because the fact is that a lot of who people call the ones that call themselves FBA, they have a strong affinity for Black foreigners. Just the reality. They do. Tariq Nasheed follows a bunch of females on his IG that have foreign flags on them. You even have, if you're talking about Rizza Islam, who doesn't promote FBA, he's in the fruit of Islam, but Rizza Islam married a Puerto Rican. That's his guy. Dennis Sperling, one of the big promoters of FBA online. Not only is he half Jamaican, he has a child with a Jamaican woman in Jamaica. He's married to a Dominican. Then you got Phil Scott, who's married to a Mexican woman and has kids with her. So if you want to go as far as to call yourself something, it has to go with maintaining that identity, even in regards to who you procreate with, who you deal with. They're not doing that. Ain't none of these clowns talking about the FBA turning down a Dominican woman, Puerto Rican, Nigerian. I know some of them that have been hawking, trying to get a certain Nigerian woman that are here in the U.S. And they're talking about their FBA. They got the FBA thing all up on their bio. And then they, in the comments of like a emo chick from Dallas, like, damn, you bad. Woo. So you can't be wanting to say you're separating and then you're still desiring to have people have children with the people you're saying you're separating from. It doesn't make sense. If you go through any of the other groups that I named, whether it's an Amazonian, they don't want to procreate and have children with people that are from the French-speaking part of Cameroon. The Kurdish people, they don't want to have children with Turkish people or with Persians, wherever they're at. They want to keep their stuff in-house. Every group that goes as far as wanting to call themselves a name and separate themselves, there has to be a political objective in line. You have to have an end game. What is the end game? If your end game doesn't include, don't deal with none of these other Black foreigners. I don't want to see them pop up with a Bernice Brugos, who's Puerto Rican, a Yasmin Lopez, who's Puerto Rican. I don't want to see them pop up with a Dominican, Haitian, nothing. If y'all want to go all the way. I don't want to see no woman talking about she FBA and she glazing Idris Elba. She glazing Maduka Okoye. Because that's what they doing. And I'm talking about the ones that put FBA in their bio. They're not ready to do that. If you're not ready to do that, to me, your separation movement is false. It's fake. It's fake if you ask me. Because if you ain't willing to go that far, because I'm gonna tell you, because if someone is a Biafran separatist in Nigeria, they don't plan on intermarrying with somebody outside of the region that they believe they call Biafra. Same thing with anything else. They're not gonna go. They're gonna say, no, we're gonna only marry each other. Same thing with Arabs. They do this stuff. They don't want to be with Black Arabs, African Arabs. They will separate themselves in Morocco, Algeria. The ones that practice that. Not all of them do, but the ones that do are on that pro-Arab separatist movement, or I'm Arab. They are very careful in who they procreate with. So it's it's just it's fake. It's fake, bro.
Very true.
I
Very
mean,
When they go
true.
to
You
the
know.
clubs in Houston,
even
Miami,
yeah,
they are at the same clubs with people that are black foreigners. They're going to school. They're in the same black sororities and fraternities. You're not going to be able to really fully separate, at least in the United States, from quote unquote black foreigners unless you're like in Mississippi, you're in Memphis, you're in places where there's not a large black foreign population. You could probably get away with that in those circles. As soon as you hit Atlanta, as soon as you hit Houston, as soon as you hit New York, as soon as you hit Miami, you're not going to be able to escape it. That's just what it is.
And I
Yeah,
think
I
I
think
mean I
Black
think what
Americans
it
should get an ethnic. They should have an ethnic group, but in terms of delineation, I think that there, you know, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think, but they need an ethnic group definitely. You know, they
yeah,
need to like
and I agree with that.
consolidate themselves, and
Yeah,
yeah, that would be great for them. You know.
I
and
mean,
one
No,
of the
I
I
mean,
have
reason
no
one of the
problem with the
reason
Black American identity or anything. I'm saying,
yeah,
how far do they want to go? What's the objective? I have no problem with it at all.
okay.
I have no
Okay, I
problem
mean,
with it at
what you
all.
just
Like,
said,
you know,
what you just said, even in the UK, most of the far right politicians who are advocating against immigration, they're all married foreign wives. They have mixed kids of foreign, um, heritage. You know, like the guy called Nigel Farage, got gift. His wife is German,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he's the
Yes. I
one that
know. I
got us
know.
out of. He's the one that got us out of the EU with the Brexit, right?
Yeah.
So
hmm
these are all
A lot of
grifters. They're
them.
grifters. Yeah. So this is the problem, and populism is been rife, on the internet, and it's been going on for years. I would say for the last 15, 20 years, populism is a global thing, and it's just actually got into us, yeah, in our communities. That goes all into Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Propaganda
It's a
and
money
populism.
making thing now. I think, you
Yeah.
know, people just wanna sponge
and,
off.
and one of the reasons they always give is Africans don't consider to be Africans. I I wasn't born here. Yeah, I'm not American. I have a US passport, of course, but my country of origin is in my passport. But my both kid, my son and my daughter, they were born here. They consider themselves as Americans. But again, their grandmother or the other family member consider them to be Americans. When they do certain things, when I see my son eating with his left hand, I'll tell you, don't eat with your left hand. He said, what's wrong with that? But again, I received a lot of beating for that, right? Even to write with my left hand, right?
Mm,
But African calling my kid, they are not African, they are Americans. They're not going to say they are Black American, but they will say they are Americans. Same apply to other race like Italians. When they go to Italy, they will call them American. They will say they don't have Italian culture. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're saying that they are not African. Yeah, they know they're African of origin, but there are certain things that you do in African culture which doesn't even make sense sometimes. And they think
Well,
it's so certain thing that when you see my mom sitting and you pass between her and someone else, she'll say, why you
mm,
can pass it around? But it doesn't even
yeah.
make no sense why they do that, right? But
Mm.
my
See,
kid would
what
not
unify us?
understand these
Yeah.
things, right? When they will
What
call them,
unify us?
these are American kids, but
Yeah.
that doesn't
No, no,
mean
I
they say,
agree.
oh, African American, they are not African. No, we know they are African of
Mm,
origin. But because I was
mm,
born in an African culture and some of the culture that they practice doesn't even make sense. To
yeah.
say where you see older people don't pass between them. What have to do with respect? All I need to is to speak to them, right? Or don't eat
Yeah.
with your left hand, or don't clean
So if you look
So
at
your,
what
West
you're
your
saying
butt
Africa,
is
with your left
behavior
hand.
I mean,
traits, yeah? Behavior
I agree.
traits
I
is
mean, if you look at,
different.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't
exactly. If you look at West Africa, we are united in one thing, our Niger Congo language. But genetically, we are different people. However, we do have a lot of admixture due to intermarriages between our ethnic groups. Okay, because Niger Congo have been one of the oldest language in on planet Earth. Okay, and these people have integrated over the years, have mixed because African people were not good at inbred. Like when someone was saying earlier about if someone want to separate, they shouldn't marry, another ethnic group. They should just marry their own. That's inbred. That's breeding in. We are not good at that. If you look at our genetics, we are not really as other Europeans or other like Asians. Even in some of the Muslim African tribes who are allowed to marry their cousin, they decide not to. Majority of them don't practice that. But one thing that united us in Africa and it still does is our Niger-Congo languages, and also our culture, and our heritage, and our history. And also because you know
Hey,
the
guys, one
history,
second.
that's when
I think Miss Sister, did you have another question, Miss Sisters?
Yeah. I'll give her a break.
Oh, I just have a comment, and I was just listening to everyone. I have to say, I don't know where the FBA movement is headed. And I think part of that has to do with Black Americans, they don't quite know what they want. I have not seen them rally around a political agenda. So I think over the next maybe 10 to 20 years, perhaps we will find out. But as of right now, I don't know what the end game is. I agree with a lot of what you said.
okay. So
And
yeah, I mean,
then we
it's
really
a
love to
cultural
hear
thing.
what's your name again? I'm sorry, I always call you Miss. What do you pronounce your name again?
Oh,
Your
it's Maya.
lady?
It's
Huh?
Maya.
Maya, okay,
Maya,
Maya.
sister,
Yeah,
Maya.
yeah. Well, I mean, you sound very intelligent, and you and I, we spoke about this FBA thing back and front so many times. But again, don't fall for they want to say, well, they don't think that we Africans, you know. I mean, as long as you were born in America, African will always think that you have an American, you are American, but they're not going to say you are African American. No, I call my kid, they are American based on certain things that they do, right? When they see older person, instead of them calling them by respectful name, they call them by their name, which is kind of disrespectful to African culture. I don't even know why we do some of these things. But again, you know, it's we classify everybody that was born in America to be an American, right? Italian do the same thing, every other race do the same thing. As long as you were born in America, he's an American. We call the American kid. But it's not specifically applied to only African Americans. It's applied to anybody that was born in America. But they don't even understand that. Even Agata, I don't know if they Nigerian, then say Agata or Gata, they call their own kid that name. It means that they are American. They don't have their Nigerian culture, you know. So, and the French people, the French African, they call Black American mon cousin. Mon cousin mean in English, my cousin. Because they have seen some similarities. That's why they call African American cousin. As in a French person, they will tell you that, you know. So
Yeah, I like what y'all are saying. I mean, it's like I said before, you have to have an end game with the identity thing. You know, it has to have an end game. Even if someone is saying that they want to, you know, get reparations, me myself just understanding history, understanding how, you know, the white man works, he ain't giving it. But if that's the objective and you want to keep that open as a possibility and say he may one day do it, then you can create a group and separate and say, hey, the people that came from the Caribbean and from Africa, they can't have this, and these are the stipulations. You have to have at least one you have to have at least one person on your census that's connected to the 1870 census. Cool. You know, you have some kind of framework that you're working with, but the framework is so dynamic. No one knows who's FBA whenever it gets to their parentage, because Wes Moore, he gets kicked out because his mom is Caribbean, but Nipsey Hussle's added in even though his dad is Eritrean. And then now it doesn't become even a lineage. It doesn't become even an ethnic group. It becomes really a club. And clubs have criteria for membership. And it looks like whoever Tariq says is part of the club is part of the club. And they've had this problem because even with the Drake situation, with his beef with Kendrick, Tariq drew a line in the sand and said Drake is not FBA because he was born in Canada. He was born and raised in Canada, even though his dad is from Memphis, even though his dad and his uncle contributed to black music in America, documented. You know, Sly and the Family Stones, his own uncle, his dad's brother, was part of Fly and the Family Stones. So it's one of these things where it's just like now you just threw you threw somebody away because you don't think he's cool enough to represent your brand. So now Drake, he can't be FBA because he was born in Canada, born and raised in Canada, but Kyrie Irving, who was born and spent part of his life in Australia, he's FBA because he's cool enough for us. So this is moving. It's just this moving identity. Identities are not meant to be that dynamic and changeable. They need to have a actual system of what they say is FBA. But again, if they're not willing to stop procreating with black foreigners, then you lose it off the rip. Because even the guys that is promoting it, Phil Scott, his kid is part Mexican. Now you got an anchor baby tethered that can be called anchor baby all day by somebody who doesn't like him in the FBA group. Then you got guys like Dennis Sperling, who has a Dominican wife and he has a child with a Jamaican. Those children grow up. Now they're subject to being called tether, non-FBA, and these guys are the same ones promoting this stuff. Just let you know that even their movement has a dead end in their own families. Even in their own family line, they're killing what they could perceive to be FBA. But, this is how some people are. And people, they don't want to think and about what they want. And at the end, like I said, like the sister said, what is the end game for quote unquote Black Americans as a whole? What's the end game for Black people generally? That's a discussion I know Dynas has. But even here politically, what is the end game? Because America is going to go to World War III. Economy is tightening up. Black families across the board in America are not as unified. Even second generation foreign families are, have some troubles too. And then you have the issue with, AI. You have the issue with government shrinking. You see 300-something thousand Black women lost jobs. What are their sons and daughters going to have? So it gets very complicated when everything just turns into this confusion. When you have this much confusion, you can have the rise of the likes of a Tariq Nasheed who thrive on chaos. Those
Very
guys
true.
can thrive on a chaotic environment because there's no set vision, there's no set objective, there's no set goal, there is no end game. So you get these vultures, you get these people who just feed on the misery of the people. They feed on it. And this happens with Black people globally. Except for places like Burkina Faso, but in most places where there's Black people, there's a level of this confusion and people at the very top feeding on the misery of our people. And this is the reason why you see the condition that we're in as people. It's stuff like this, and it might seem small, something like this, like, oh, Tariq Nasheed is just playing around, but this stuff has like a slow chipping away ripple effect at just the overall unity among the people. Because even I'm born and raised here. My parents came from Nigeria. When I'm growing up in Houston, my parents never ever told me I can't play with Black people. I never heard that. Now maybe the people that did hear that from their parents are from the different generation. My parents were born in the 40s and 50s. They came up in a time of independence movement, Pan-Africanism, being adults and seeing the likes of Patrice Lumumba, and Martin Luther King getting assassinated, and seeing the movement in South Africa. So it is what it is, man.
Okay,
But
let's turn this page. Okay, let's turn the page in other way around, right? What would you say about, not all Nigerians, some Nigerians who will notice their pattern of behavior that migrate to the West, who are working to undermine the local Black people who have been there longer than them, who have actually struggled to find, freedom and actually seek for equality for the entire Black nation. But then you have some of them who are very individualistic and very selfish, and to some point very tribalistic, and their mindset is been ingrained in them,
Very true.
which is very destructive to the entire Black race, who come here and seek power. When they acquire that power, they continue with the same agenda, aka example Kemi Badenoch in the UK.
Yeah. I mean,
She is
I know
the
exactly what
most
you're talking about.
dangerous at the moment. People don't talk about this woman. At the moment, she is the most dangerous Black person who is working on planet. I'm telling you, she is a very dangerous woman.
And I'll say this: the reason why people
In
like that can
reverse. So
thrive.
let's be honest.
I'm being honest about this. Like, the reason why people like that can thrive, because whenever you have to rely, when you have motivations, you have You have Maslow's hierarchy of needs, your things that you need, and then your wants. When people look at a system that's being controlled by, the white elite, and that system, they want to access certain things in that system. That system will require a group of people that are not part of that system, an out group, a minority group, however you want to call it, that if you want to get access to these things, you need to be willing to throw another black person under the bus to access these things. It's the same thing when you look at like a Jay-Z with the whole NFL thing that he did, how he threw Colin
Yeah, they
Kaepernick
kick the
under the
ladder.
bus.
They kick the ladder as a climb.
Yeah,
Yeah, they kick
yeah.
the ladder. I
So
understand that. They kick the ladder
yeah,
as a
so
climb.
and
But
black
the
people
point
do
is,
this globally. Not all black people,
yeah,
but the people that are in that level, they play in that game. Go ahead.
yeah.
Peace. Can I
So
be
I
heard?
mean, not well. We have had loads of politicians in the UK, right, from different from different nationalities. But we
Yeah,
notice a trend of those who behave certain ways. Okay, so we know black people do it, but we're talking about the amount and the. I don't want to generalize Nigerian people because they're not all the same. Not all Africans are the same. Not all FBA are the same. People are generalized in general. They're low IQ. But I'm saying it's a trend I noticed. Okay, and it's a very dangerous precedent because in the UK we had similar politician who was to the South Asian Indian
hmm
prime minister. She
yeah,
was doing what Kemi is doing. She was doing the bidding for the white supremacists. Okay, she was
correct.
actually doing the bidding, and he managed to get there as a prime minister, not by elected but also by selected. Okay, and
Yeah,
what happened? They went after the Indians as soon as she left power. He left power. They went after the Indians.
correct.
So what she's doing now is not just dangerous now, but it's when she leave that opposition, they'll be like, oh, hang on a minute, that black woman of color was doing it and saying it, and what's wrong with that? If she can say it, why can't I not say it? She
Correct.
done it. This is very dangerous. I mean, it's about time we call it out also of people of African descent. I think I am on both sides of this. That we have to be fair. What I think our power, because we don't have power. This is a big problem. We don't have power, and we don't know how to seek power, and it's a big problem of black people. We don't learn from the other group of people who are minority, who actually know how to seek and acquire power. We
hmm
don't learn from these people. Instead of us learning from them and work with them and basically, apply that globally,
Yeah,
we basically try and castigate them, minimize them, trying to make them look like they're this and that. But there's a knowledge into this. You have to be very strategic.
yeah,
And you cannot just have power like that. Power is not given, bro. It's not given. And black
yeah,
people are always going to be workers and entertainers as long as we carry on, thinking like the way we do. And we're too divided, man. Too much, too much division. Too
The
much.
problem is with us
Too
is
much.
our integrity.
Mm.
We've got poor
Yeah, Dimes.
integrity.
I just got here.
And yeah, we need to work on integrity. But
Mm.
I would love to see Black Americans, come together and form another group. Form another ethnic, come underneath a different type of name. That would be. I think that would be a great thing for them. But in
Mm.
terms of obviously cutting yourself from the continent and other black people, I don't think that's a good idea, because you need to be able to reach out and work with other black people, you know what I'm saying? Because at the moment in the world, we can see there's certain things which are going on, which obviously can put us as black people, if we work together, can put us at a better place than we are at the moment. So definitely, I would love to see Black Americans just come up with their own ethnic group, and for us to work together to prosper, as a
Do you know what?
people.
Do you know what? My brother, my British brother, in the
Mm.
UK, we know how to work, on a grassroots level.
Yeah.
I've been involved in campaigning for a lot of politicians. In the city I live, it was the only city in the whole Europe that had a mixed race, half black, half Jamaican, half white, half Jamaican
Yeah.
mayor in the whole Europe. Okay, Marvin Rees, and I think he's now been promoted to the House of Lords. He's my friend. I grew up with him.
I saw him. I've
You know,
seen him still. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually, I know his mom. I see his mom like maybe once or twice every 3 months, but we don't know how to galvanize. Even the woman that I mentioned earlier, the Liberian woman, Miata Fambule, she's a constituent of Peckham. And now Peckham is one of the early settlement of Sierra Leoneans. Sierra Leoneans, people don't know this, are the first black people who settled in the UK around the
Oh yes,
17th
yes, yes,
century.
yes. I
Okay.
think that
And
that
who,
it was sorry about this. I think wasn't it?
that's right.
I don't know. Some Black Americans. I read something that Black
Yeah,
Americans came over
it,
for the
yes,
is it the black
loyalists, the black loyalists,
yeah, the lawyers,
black
yeah,
loyalists,
loyalists.
loyalists, yeah, okay.
Yes,
But
and
the
they
area where, yeah, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the area that's in Southeast London, that area, that's where you find a lot of Nigerians, Ghanaians, and so on. I mean, people came and settled around. Like, you will not hear this sort of division between those ethnic group or those nationalities. They work together. Okay, and the only problem was a lot of gang warfare between the two groups, the African tribes, the African migrant, and the Caribbeans. You remember the post-Cold War that used to happen in Southeast London, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
And that was between the Africans and the. I was in London those days. But if you look at today, like even that woman, that Miata, she's like Sierra Leone and Liberian. I believe her Sierra Leone influence made her became an MP more than the Liberian, if I'm honest with you. Okay, in fact, she goes to Sierra Leone platform. I've seen her more in Sierra Leone platform than Liberian platform, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and we galvanized. My cousin is one of the people who were grassroots level to get her elected. Okay, because things were really tough for black people during the COVID. Racism was going up, and that George Floyd era, it was like it kept becoming rampant. And
Yeah,
so it's like we know some of us know how to get together and put the people somewhere where we can have a bit of flavor. But
it's
some of us
foundational.
don't.
It's
Yes,
as you're
some of us
saying,
don't know how to do it.
it's
Some of us
building
are
that
just too
foundation.
chaotic, man. Mm. Some of us
It's
are too chaotic.
yeah, it's the backbone, and it starts locally, with the local
Thank you.
community, So if you've got like a structure, like a good foundation, where you know youth and where young people can rise up and go into politics, then they've got like a good backbone. You know what I'm saying? But what's happening right now is that we've got like individualistic like mindsets and individualistic like progression where
Yes.
there's the foundation. They're not coming from like a black foundation. Do you understand? So basically, once they get
It
up there,
doesn't
like
matter. Let it let
say
it
for
let it be
example, like
whatever
Kimmy.
foundation. As long as he get us to work and get us out of this mess, fine. If we have to
Yeah,
abolish,
so
so-called
say for example,
religion, tribes,
like
regions,
Kimmy, yeah,
let it be.
she has to rely on the Caucasian, like
Yes.
hemisphere. Do you understand the Caucasian type of foundation? Because she's not coming from like a grassroots. Do you understand? Like a grassroots foundation where she's got people that holding her up. So in terms of that, yeah, once you get up there, it makes you kind of vulnerable. Do you understand? Because you're not really, you know what I'm saying? You're not really coming from like a grassroots, yeah, where you can have someone communicate with you, your own
Politics is
community,
grassroots.
your own black
Politics
community
is
can.
grassroots.
Mic check, mic check.
Sorry, what you say?
Yes, mic check. Can I be heard?
Yeah, you're right. God give politics is grassroots, isn't it? If you don't start from the bottom up, you're gonna be falling down from up
That's
there
it. That's
down.
it. You've got no one to like lean on to, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just needs where people can obviously guide you and like, your own black people, like, can hold you up and like, give you like a stern like backbone, you know what I'm saying? Give you like a stern, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So basically what was happening, there's no real backing, like, do you understand? So she's all over the place. She's just all over the place. That's what's happening,
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, there's no real. Whenever a black person enters into politics, especially in the Western world, you're never gonna be able to push an agenda that's gonna benefit black people. Maybe on
No,
surface
but
level it may
don't go
look like
against.
it.
But don't push the agenda that would destroy black people, though.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understand? That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
No, I fully agree with
Testing,
that.
testing
But what I'm
one.
saying is
Thank you,
that
Shiggy. Yeah.
that's the opportunity that these individuals seek within these
Right.
systems, where they'll choose to be, play the conservative side or the liberal side, whatever they're at in the Western world, to basically, because a lot of these people, they're more power hungry they're more hungry for power to, be over people than they are for to fix things or to fix an issue
Make it work.
with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about it is, we have to understand that in the world that we're currently in, the world is shifting away from black people needs being met. I mean, we were talking about from the point of the majority of the food supply, the fertilizer is coming from outside of Africa. All they got to do is shut that tap off. The food supply is down. They prevent a lot of countries in Africa between having trade amongst each other. They only want the African countries to have basically, a place for natural resources and extraction for multinational companies. And as these things get tighter, you're going to see more of these Judases rise up.
Diana, are you there?
More of these Judases
No, I agree.
will
That makes
rise
a lot.
up as things get tighter. And we see this everywhere where you see black
guys,
people at.
let Pharaoh speak.
Oh, go ahead. My
Yes,
bad.
peace. I just got here. I want to touch in on the subject. And brothers, please, when someone new arrive on the panel, like try not to be selfish and let somebody else talk. Because I know some of you brothers can be
Sorry, we
long-winded.
didn't notice you was there. I
Yeah,
apologize. Okay.
We didn't
yeah,
notice, my brother.
yeah. I want to touch on the subject now. When it comes to saying Africans cannot grow beards and cannot grow long hair. That is silly. Just about any man, any race of man can grow a beard and grow long hair, and I don't see anything special about want to grow a beard because I don't I don't like to grow beards. I shave my beard. I like to stay clean shaven because I see beards are very unsanitary. It's unclean, and it makes you look like a caveman. And that's why I don't. So if a man can't grow a beard, then hey, that's good. That's a good thing because he don't have to worry about shaving it. So yeah, so I see that as a good thing. I wish I wasn't able to grow a beard. Yeah, that way I wouldn't have to worry about shaving it. But yeah, I shave my beard and I pride myself on being clean shaven because I do I am in the ancient Egyptian culture, and the pharaohs and the ancient Egyptians they kept themselves clean shaven, and it was seen as a thing of being civilized, and sanitary, but and these Hebrews they grow beards because they feel like it is their culture, but just because you can grow a beard also does not make you a Hebrew. You have other races who are not even Hebrew or not Israelite can also grow beards. But I wouldn't recommend it. I would say shave your beard if you want to be seen as clean and civilized. But that's the route I go. But and I feel good after shaving my beard. So that's a good thing. If you can't grow a beard. And and when it comes to this Atlantic slave trade, okay, and FBA, people, when history speaks of those people being taken from Africa and being brought to America, guess who fits that description? Okay, Black Americans, you fit that description. You were those slaves brought over here. If you walk around with dark skin and kinky hair, yes, that is 10 times out of 10. That is you. You are the direct descendants of those people taken from Africa and brought over here as slaves. Okay, you're not the Native Americans. You're not none of that. Okay, you're So stop trying to steal their identity and their culture, because I'm telling you right now, that has nothing to do with you. And they don't and if you are a Black Native American, it is because Africans mix with those Native Americans with the straight hair. Okay, Africans from Africa mix with, but that does not mean that the people who are already over here were dark skinned and woolly hair or kinky hair. Okay, so that's a historical fact. You just need to stick to the original historical histories and fact. And concerning this word Negro, okay, a lot of people they have their own opinions about it. You know, some say that the white man made it up and it is a derogatory term. No, it is not. Okay, you have to. That's why you have to be a historian and know the origins and etymologies of this word. They called us Negro because it derived from an even older word, Negrite, who was the people were known as Ethiopians. So it goes all the way back than the slave trade, and that is why they called us Negroes because it connects to an ancient people over 2,000 years ago, and I believe the reason for this these groups trying to disconnect us from Africa is being instigated by the white man, because we know that the white man has always had a fascination and an obsession with Africa, because he always wanted to disconnect us from Africa and put himself in Africa, because he has a fascination and an obsession with ancient Egypt or Kemet. Okay, and I feel like if it wasn't for ancient Egypt, the white man, he probably wouldn't give a damn about Africa. You know, but you see it all through the movies or Ten Commandments. You know, and he wants to replace us so bad, and that's why he's I believe that he's funding these groups to disconnect us from Africa, so he can take us out the picture of our power and greatness. Okay, and that's what's going on. You know, we see it all through the movies. You know, he has a fascination for Egypt. They're always in Egypt digging up the pyramids, digging up the bones, and you know, putting it on their fate History Channel documentaries. Yeah, and he's trying to steal that away from us, and he knows like terms like Negro, African, all that connects us to Africa and ancient Egypt and Nile Valley civilization, and he wants to strip that away from us, because if we look into that, we go that route, then we're going to discover the truth of who we are. So let's change the title. Let's change to FBA or ABO, Native American, or even North African. But like even before all this, during the time of the Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, we were known as our land was called Sudan, and they don't even want us to know that we was connected to the people of Sudan during the time of the Ghana, Mali, and Timbuktu Empire. That's why those empires are called the empires of the Western Sudan, and that's why he wants to lie about that, and that's why in the translation of these histories, they'll change Sudan into Negro, or try to change the translation so you won't know the
No, but in Arabic it means black. The land Sudan means the land al Sudan, the land of the blacks. And all indication that the Niger Congo group, that who West Africans are from Sudan. It's a group that split with the Nilotic. I think we split from the Nilotic. We moved from where you call Sudan today to West Africa. There's not one single West African tribe that will identify themselves other than if you're not Niger Congo in West Africa, you're not West African. So you're right on that. The Mali used to be called Western Sudan, the Mali Empire.
Indeed.
The name Mali is given to them because it was a Malinke tribe who built the empire, but it is actually used to be called Western Sudan.
But for someone to even say that Africans don't grow hair, why would you want to listen to
come on,
someone
we know
like
that
that?
our ethnic
Right.
The Pula Mandingo people grow more hair than anybody else.
Yeah, I grow hair. I have beard. I have hair. Dennis, he and I met on the flight to Nairobi. But my youngest brother, he lost all his hair. Right? We all moved from the same mom, from the same dad. But I grow hair. I have to cut my hair almost every other week. Every 2 weeks, I have to go to the barber shop. I have to cut down my beard. So, with a smart person that have went to school and learned science, will even say something like that. Only an illiterate, uneducated person will ever make such a statement. It makes no sense. Why would you want to listen to someone like that? To the level of even mentioning that this person cannot grow hair. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look at the people in East Africa. You know, the Oromo, the the Habishas. The Afar. You know, they all grow long hair. You know, and they are Africans. So it's really,
the only group that came to West Africa later on are the Afro-Asiatic. They came there later on. But the Niger Congo group are the first group who left where you call Egypt, where Egypt used to be. Okay, they left there a long time ago, and they came to settle among the Niger River is a good, it was like a motorway. Okay, that Niger River and the one that goes further down to Nigeria. Like the Ijaw tribe, the Ijaw ethnic group of Nigeria are the oldest ethnic group you find in our region. That's where that's the group of people that Elvis come from. Then you have the Igbos. Then you have those Niger Congo Atlantic who you call, Mandinka, Fula, Wolof, Bambara, and Sere. And these are the other Niger Congo group who are far from the Western Atlantic. But these are ancient West African people who migrated to that region from Sudan. Genetically proven, historically proven, there's no one single doubt and question about it. So when people, I think this is why some of the Hebrew Israelites are trying to mix up sometimes when I listen to them. Because genetics is a funny thing. I know also history is quite funny. When in fact, if you talk to people in Uganda, they will tell you they have that similar pattern of migration from Sudan. It's not just, but the only difference is those that went to the West are called Niger Congo. Um, so sometimes when we look at Africa, we are very confused. We confuse sometimes genetics to history. We confuse a language to culture. It's like it's all over the place because we have too many stuff going on. But then if you look at the separation that is going on between Africa and America, look at Africa itself. When the Berlin Conference happened, the first thing they had to do is to separate the land. They separate the same group of people. You will find Yoruba people in Benin, but you find them in southern Nigeria. So what did they do? They cut them off from each other. You find Fula people in Guinea. You find them in Sierra Leone. What do? We cross a line. So they have separated. If they could do that years ago and separate black people within the continent, okay, and most of these ethnic groups also being formed around. Some of them, not all of them, some of them are very ancient, but some of them have formed also quite recently based on separation and migration. If all this could be done due to the evil that they did to Africa, why can't they do that now within the African American and the African group to divide us? It's simple.
Yeah,
And why are people like black people are still that's when CJ said, yes, other people are doing what Kemi Badenoch is doing. I agree to him. Absolutely. Tariq Nasheed is one of them. Because what he's doing now, he's dividing the entire black population, based on ethnicity. And we have enough ethnicity in our life, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, and and also that the Niger River used to be called the Nile River. It was also called the Nile River. Like Egypt, it was called the Nile of Ghana, the Nile of Timbuktu, and that shows a connection to Nile Valley civilization. So when I see this, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why are we why can't we just tell the truth and let the world know who we really are and let the world know about the greatness of our ancestors and how great we are.
Right.
Because it's not being taught. Like, people actually believe that we are these cursed primitive people that that the white man lied about, and that the white man said who we were, and we're not. And I think, like, if we just let the world know of our greatness, and because they have to know, because they really don't know. They have to know
Yeah.
about the
Have you
greatness
also
of
heard
our
about
people.
the sorry to interrupt you? Have you also heard about the ghost human in of West Africa, the Denisovan, the ghost human? Have you heard about that? This is a genetically proven fact. Most, in fact, all of us have that in us, and I believe that's what makes us very uniquely different to other African
I've
and
heard
other
of that.
races. Yeah,
I've heard of it.
yes. I believe that's what make West African descent are very fast people. If you notice, we're the most athletic people in the world, and we're very fast. And
Yeah,
that is a deep study, and we all have it. There's not one ethnic group in West Africa that do not carry that marker in their DNA. It's crazy. So
yeah, yeah.
it's so even African Americans actually also carry that, and that's a
Mm,
marker they can use in America to identify you as a West African anyway. So, and in fact, like most people that came to West Africa would die of malaria and other diseases, but will survive it. And there's so many things that we're built for that even other Africans are not built for it. So why
yeah.
can't we be proud of who we are? Stop attaching yourself to Israel. Stop attaching yourself to other people's empire, other people's greatness, or try and hate yourself because it's crazy, man. What's wrong? What's wrong with
Oh
us
no, no.
being proud African people?
Africa. What is happening is, since Africa being considered to be a dark continent,
Mm,
and people want to measure their value based on being close to whiteness. I think
mm,
that's what it is, right? It did not you are not being valued based on how much you have in your bank account or your profession, but by
mm,
being very close to white proximity of the white people. I think that's
mm,
why most of them don't want to identify themselves with Africa. But the problem is
mm.
they don't travel. They haven't seen how Africa looks like, right? You
Yeah.
you visiting village of Nigeria doesn't mean that you have seen all part of Africa. So the only
Mm,
value they can show is to be closer to whiteness. I think
mm.
that's why it is. Keeping a
Yeah.
distance away from Africa. But
Yeah.
Mm,
successful African Americans will not even waste his time on those type of things. They don't have time for that. But
Yeah.
people
mm.
that are somehow, I think, struggling, that haven't found their feet yet, want to be closer to white person so they can have some value in the society, and they think that's how they can gain their value, not
Mm.
about what they have achieved.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that Africa about the
Mm.
fast. Have you ever heard of the people known as the Ethiopian troglodytes who live south of the Garamantes?
No, I don't know a lot about Ethiopia.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
know
yeah.
a lot about West
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah, yeah. They were people spoken of in Herodotus, the histories. Yeah, the first
Mm.
historian Herodotus, he spoke of a people dwelling south of the Garamantes, which is south of Libya and the Fazan, and south of Algeria to south of the Sahara Desert. He called
Okay.
them the Ethiopian troglodytes, and he said they ran faster. They ran faster than horses. Yeah, so that
That's it's describing West Africans, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
West
that's
Africans, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's West Africa. That's not East Africa.
yeah, okay,
Because
West. Okay.
south,
Now, actually, you said when you say
yeah,
Ethiopia, well, okay, south of the Algerian, yeah, yes, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what
yeah,
you mean. You mentioned the ancient description. No, yeah, it is a fact. We are very
yeah,
athletic. The way we build muscle index, the way how West African are mostly is not, you can't compare that to any other ethnic group in the world. There's something uniquely different and special about West African people. And we just, I come, listen, I come from an ethnic group who'd like to think because some of them got lighter skin, they're better than the darker skin one, or because they got bigger and then taller, they think they're better than the shorter one. It's like, this is happening even to the ethnic group level of African people and globally. Nobody's like someone in the comment section saying, "Why can you Africa unite?" On the tribalism. Before you mention America, yes, we have tribalism in Africa, but you don't see people fighting each other over tribes in Africa anymore. We had tribal wars in the past, but we learned from that. Nowadays, we have internal conflicts that our leaders are failing us on, but you don't see any mass, killing of people based on their tribe. The last time
No,
that happened
that
was
doesn't
Rwanda.
even happen. I
No, the
mean,
last time it happened was in
yeah,
Rwanda and
yeah.
Tutsi and Tutsi.
It's only
And
happening in one
so let's
country,
get this right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reality is, we need to, and also the last time we have most of this thing that happened between us as ethnic group, we know it's been failed by outsiders who want to division. But some of us are smart enough to not to buy into it. But the reality is, it's all down to how people value themselves, as people, and how you value your community and how you are valid in your community. And I think a lot of us lack in that where we live globally. Some of us, not all of us, So it's about finding that ground, and as we were saying earlier, politics is about grassroots. You know, Try and start, locally, build on that. Try and elect local representative, people that look like you, that think like you. Work with them, put some pennies up together, get them up there. They might not be able to change it, but they might be able to stop some of the bad things that are happening to you down the street. And this is what we've been doing in the UK. I've been involved in this for years, and I know a lot of my family members who've done that also. You know, we cannot change things by just talking. Trust me, you have to act. And
But
All
yeah,
right, man,
yeah,
guy. Good
yeah,
night,
yeah,
man. I
yeah,
gotta
brother.
go to bed. Good
Yeah,
night,
yeah,
okay,
guys.
yeah,
see you.
I'll see
Thank
you.
you, brother.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, bro. All right,
Yes,
man.
it's interesting that you mentioned that because I'm working on a book showing that that the descendants of the ancient Egyptians were definitely in West Africa. Because have you ever heard of the ancient people known as the Armenians?
No, but the thing is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the people that you call the Sudan is where the oldest pyramid were built. Okay, in fact, there
yeah,
was a
yeah,
German archaeologist who went to Sudan just before the First World War. What he discovered in Sudan, it shocks him because he was a white supremacist. Okay, he was like a racist guy. It really
yeah,
shocked him, and his mission was to destroy all this evidence before he actually got out there. So I mean, Egypt was ruled by different group of people, different dynasties, and not just black Africans. Just to make that clear. But
yeah,
yes, the people that currently live and settle in West Africa came from that region called Sudan today.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
doubt about that. Okay. Mm.
yeah, yeah, and that's yeah, and this is important because this is truth that's not being told. Is there's a deep connection between ancient Kemet and Kush and West Africa when you stick to the time period of the 6th century BCE and 5th century BCE. Now I know you heard of the Siwa oases.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Siwa oases. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's in ancient times that area was called Amun, Amun, after the Egyptian god Amun,
Very true.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
and he was called the god of Libya, and that's where like Libya, which literally means the people to the west. Even when you look at Egypt today and you look at the western border of Egypt, it stops at the Siwa oases. Yeah, because they see the Siwa oases as the western border, but in ancient times, the Siwa oasis was connected with Libya. It wasn't even connected with Egypt. So like in ancient times, Egypt, the Nile Valley in Egypt was much more narrow. Yeah, it did, but in even the southern border of Egypt, it stops at Abu Simbel in the second cataract of the Nile. But in ancient times, it stopped at Elephantine near the first cataract of the Nile.
and that's but in ancient times, this region called Libya, okay, Libya to the west of the Nile River. This is where the ancients documented where the descendants of the ancient Egyptians went, and guess what? West Africa was in Libya. Okay, it was to the it was to the west of the Nile River, and that's why I'm gonna come out with this book. I'm working on it. I'm trying to do my best on it. I want to get the best quality on the book, and I'm going to show that because a lot of these guys, man, they're making up stuff. They're making up fantasies and lies. Talking about the modern Egyptians are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians when most of them are Arabs, and they and it has nothing to do with ancient history, has nothing to do with the time period. And I'm going to show like the deep connection that
was a breakup period. No, it's well documented. That was a breakup. And in Senegal, for example, right? My cousin tribe, because my father is Fulani, okay, and the Fula, we are very close with the Sere. Now the Sere tribe of Senegal, they are what you call the landlord of Senegal. Okay, they are the original people of Senegal, the Sere. Now the Sere they themselves tell you that they migrated there from Sudan. There's so many cities we come out of and I would say the old Niger Congo people, the Niger Congo branch of West Africa break from Sudan and came settled to this far west and settled alongside the rivers. And it's all used to be the rivers. It's all about the rivers. Okay, that's what West Africa was like. And some went to the coast later on, but majority was the river. And it's there. It's still you can fetch. That's why we still have some of the oldest tribes in West Africa. Most of them still reside by the rivers, and they manage to really adapt to those situations. If you, for example, even now in Africa, right? If you come from the cities, yeah, you don't have a strong immune system, boy. You go visit family members in the village. If that village is a settlement alongside the rivers. If you don't have a strong immune system, boy, you're not coming back because you're gonna catch some disease over there. You're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like these people that been living in those areas. They've been there for centuries. We definitely we have connection to the land called Sudan, and Sudan used to be part of Egypt. Okay, it used to be part of Egypt.
Definitely. Like
it wasn't Egypt wasn't all ruled by dark skinned people. There was time that Egypt was ruled by the lighter skinned people also. But also Africa wasn't all dark skinned people. People need to get this clear. There used to be a lot of brown skinned people, okay, in the continents. There are brown skin and dark skin. So if to think Africa, because we're black people, all Africans, who are native to Africa, we're dark skin, it's just a myth. We're brown skin, we came from different shades. It all depends on the area in Africa that you really lived in, or your group of people lived in, based on the climate.
Definitely. That's why I'm going to reveal in my book that that the Nile before it was called the Nile of Timbuktu, the Nile of Ghana, it was also called the Nile of Libya. Okay, and that's.
I mean, the name Niger River was given by whites. Person that named the name Nigeria, right? So nigger land or whatever. I don't know why they call it. Sorry, dinosaur. You know what I'm trying to describe. Yeah. So so it wasn't the real original name. River Niger.
And I'm going to show that it was called the Nile because that's not out of coincidence. It was called the Nile because the Egyptians they were the ones who discovered it and they settled here. And but that's information that I'm going to reveal in my book. And
I've been to the source of I belong to that. I belong to the Mano River Fulani. Okay, and Guinea, the middle of Guinea, where is the home ancestral land of the Fulani, they call Futa Jalon, is the source of the River Niger. That's where it starts from. Because Futa Jalon is a if you go there, no matter how hot the rest of the region is, it's very cool temperature because it's high up and it's high altitude. It's a water table of West Africa, okay? And so the River Niger starts from Kutujalon and it goes all the way south to where you call Nigeria today. You travel
Mm-hmm.
along. And those ethnic groups that live along there, they will tell you their ancestors were traced, thousands and thousands and thousands of years back. But some of them will go further up and come back down. Some of them will go down and come back further up. Okay, so one thing for real, if you look at DNA, our fathers are one, but our mothers are different. So it's more like these are different clans that have been formed by different men, who a group of people who went to this area, form a different ethnic group, call themselves this, and they go there and they form themselves to, it's just like how human evolved,
Yeah,
over the years. So we West African, we're unique people. We should be proud.
yeah,
This is way before white people start, building. I mean, if you look at Europe, the only civilization that Europeans can boast of to say this is a structure, that we have in Europe to say, wow, this is what we had, is actually Stonehenge.
yeah,
Stonehenge is the only
yeah,
physical structure that they have of ancient civilization in Europe.
yeah, yeah. And the most interesting thing about West African civilization is that,
Mm.
like, although like the empires such as Mali, Timbuktu, Ghana, it was mentioned as belonging to Mali, but West African, those empires, it doesn't just belong to Mali. It belongs to all West Africa, from
Every
Guinea.
every
Yeah, yeah,
empire have exactly every empire
yeah,
had different tribes in there, and those tribes have
yeah,
different rules. Okay, no one empire that was built solely on one tribe. It wasn't. And this is how you
yeah,
can tell, for some reason over the years, someone from outside came and seek to divide us. Okay.
yeah,
Before we have outside invaders, okay, for me, I think is the invasion of the Europeans into Africa, is what fueled most of our downfall. Okay. Most empires, they used to destroy it. If they think this empire is not fit anymore, it will be like a couple of groups that will come together and say, like, this is not nice, let's destroy it and build another one. And if that one doesn't work, they'll do the same thing. But they will not engage in seller culture, tribalism, or they used to unite. Like, as I was saying the last time, the Takrur kingdom was helped destroyed, you know, um, the Takrur kingdom helped to destroy the Ghana Empire because it was involved in too much trans-Sahara slavery. Our
yeah,
population was getting wiped out. It was just it wasn't the Ghana Empire wasn't solely built on selling slaves, just to make sure that's clear. But it was actually selling slave and gold and salt. It was from to start from gold and salt, to slavery, and we had to destroy it. And
yeah,
then we
yeah,
built. Then after the Mali Empire emerged, but the person who was the head of the Takru kingdom at that time, he wasn't a Fulani. I don't know if someone is there listening was arguing. He was a Wolof guy. He was a Wolof king who was the head of the Takro kingdom at that time. So you can see even those kingdoms, they had different ethnic group who were leaders of those kingdoms at certain times. So there wasn't tribalistic. So I think this
yeah,
concept of tribalism is very new to Africa and is being brought in to divide us. And it's sad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Indeed, yeah. I definitely agree. Yeah, and the most interesting thing is, in my research, I found out that it was the Niger River, okay, which the ancients called the Nile of Libya. Okay, it was this river that made West Africa famous, and what connected West Africa to ancient Egypt and Kush, and it also mentions the before the Ghana and Mali Empire, we hear of a trade going on between the Phoenician Carthaginians and the Ethiopians to the south of the Atlantic. And the Ethiopians to the south of the Atlantic were the ancestors of West Africans. Yeah, because it
Mm. I
mentions
mean, I will give you a good
yeah,
example, right?
yeah,
I'm as someone from my ethnic group, as a Fula, we have connection all the way to Lake Chad. That's what made us spread in the Sahel. Okay, the movement from the Fulani in Senegal to Lake Chad, it's been going on for thousands of years. Okay, and like they've been riding cattle between the Lake Chad and backward and forward. And Lake Chad is not far from Sudan. So that obviously will tell you something, right? And it's
Yeah,
still there. If you count the Fulani, how they spread in West Africa, they start from Senegal, they go to Mali, and if you look at the map, and from Mali they come to Niger Republic, from Niger Republic they go to Chad in the Lake Chad region.
yeah,
And that's, you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's like we had trade routes, we have connections, and a lot of our people, the Finnish, it's very important to document stuff. And what really destroyed African history is because some of our ethnic group are not able to. There are a lot of amazing ethnic group in Africa that who managed to do so well in the past, but sadly they did not write their history down.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
is the downfall of they did not write it down. By not doing that, you made someone else write your history for you.
yeah. But I say, regardless of them writing it down, the ancient Egyptians, the Cometians wrote, they they wrote down their history, and that also is connected to us, so we can claim that as well. So so
Yeah,
any idea that West Africans cannot claim what was written down in Egypt and Kush, yeah, that is you're entirely wrong. Yeah, we can also claim that as well, because there's a strong connection. Okay, and
yeah,
there's a strong connection. And yeah, I'm going to close out with this because I got to get out of here. But
mm,
yeah, now I catch so much flack and so much negativity from East Africans, such as Sudanese, modern day Egyptians, Ethiopians, Somalians. They always telling me that, yeah, your ancestors come from West Africa. You got nothing to do with ancient Egypt, Kush, and Nile Valley civilization. Okay, but what they don't know is Egypt, Egypt and Kush ended. Okay, ancient Egypt ended, and they try to act like that the descendants of the pharaohs and Nile Valley civilization are still there and still alive and still thriving. No, Egypt ended, and that's why like so if they want to say that we see no connection with West Africa. Well, we also see no connection with Egypt today and in Sudan today, because they're Muslims and some of them are Christians. So it's like and they try to act like that they're still walking around with the ancient Egyptian crowns, and they still worshiping Amun Ra. No, no, ancient Egypt ended, and the Egyptians who left Egypt and left Kush and migrated west and southwest into what we know as West Africa today. Those people, they
Western
assimilated with
Sudan.
the West Africans. Yeah, Western Sudan. They assimilated. And no and they decided not to rebuild the ancient Egyptian culture, but they assimilated with those people, and the empire and civilization of Egypt ended. It ended, and that's why we know the descendants who left there were the people in West Africa and in southwest of Egypt and in sub-Saharan Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. That's where the descendants went. So yeah, like in the modern day
Yeah.
people of Sudan, Somalia, they're in the same boat as the people of West Africa. We
No,
Egypt.
Somalians are mainly like what you call because we have Nilo-Saharan, we have
Yeah,
the Nilotic people. There are different races within Africa, okay, and we have the Niger Congo people, and and so on. We have different race, and also as even within Africa, there are different people who ruled Egypt at the time. West African, we had our days, then and also East African had their days. What you see today, like what you call the Tuaregs or that group of people, they had their days. Afro-Asiatic, they had their
yeah,
days, and Europe, the West Asian had their days. So
yeah.
it
So
was
what you're
a it
saying,
was
was it a
different times.
monolith?
Yeah,
Yes, it was. In West Africa, to be honest, this concept of
Amalgamation,
yeah,
basically,
that's
yeah?
right, that's right, that's right, yeah.
yeah,
So this
Amalgamation.
concept, yes, this concept of saying that, that's what I said earlier. To say African people were only just dark skinned people who are the real African, and these are all things to divide us furthermore. Or this tribe is more this tribe is more indigenous, or this.
yeah,
It's just it's like a low level, low IQ mentality mindset. You don't get that anywhere in the world. You only get that in Africa. It's like, come on, man, wake up. If someone need to
yeah,
knock you in the head just to wake you up, it's just not. It's just weird. And
yeah,
so the reality is, and it's the same mindset that you see in America today. It's no different to what you call the FBA today, man. These are all same mindsets. And then these people, listen, these people study us for long. If you have group of people who have the knowledge and they steal a lot of the knowledge from you, and they manage to unify, against you, then they manage to study your weakness. Boy, you better make sure you got something else. Otherwise, they will always have the upper hand.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Pharaoh,
I
look,
definitely.
Pharaoh, thank you very much. Very insightful, man. So, yeah,
Oh yeah,
Africa,
yeah,
Africa.
indeed, indeed. Yeah,
Yeah,
And May,
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
yes, thank you very much.
man.
I'm going to drop
You're
off,
welcome.
yeah?
No, you're
Yeah,
welcome, man.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we're
man.
here to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Take care,
I'm
Yeah,
take
gonna.
yeah,
care.
go on,
Thank
Pharaoh.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
go on,
close out
Pharaoh.
as well. But yeah, I just want
Yeah.
to let you know that I'm writing a book, and I'm going to show in my book that that the ancient writers said that the Egyptians migrated amongst the Libyans and amongst the Ethiopians, but in another section they don't call them Egyptian Libyans or Egyptian Ethiopians. They just call them Libyans and Ethiopians. And this in those Libyans and Ethiopians that these Egyptians are migrated amongst are the same Libyans and Ethiopians that are mentioned in the later chapters. And these Libyans are the people to the north of North Africa. The Ethiopians are the ancestors of the Negroes south of the Sahara Desert. Okay, the Ethiopians represent the ancestors of the Negroes along the Niger. So Libyan and Ethiopian is the same as is synonymous with Berber and Sudanese. Okay, it's talking about the people to the north and the people to the south that are divided by the Great Sahara Desert. So yeah, the Ethiopians represent the people along the Niger River, or the ancestors of the Negroes, and these are the people where the ancient Egyptians migrated to, settled at, and they assimilated with them, and they became the Ethiopians and the Libyans. And that's what I'm going to show in my book, and I'm going to prove it without a shadow of a doubt. So to all you my East African brothers, Sudanese, Somalians, yeah, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to, accept that West Africans are, your West Africans are your brothers and are your kinsmen, and we also are connected to ancient Egypt and Nile Valley civilization, and you're going to have to respect us and treat us that way, because the truth, because history demands it. History, now we don't need your authority as a historian. I don't need your authority, my East African brothers and sisters, because I get my authority is coming from history, real history. So I will educate you on what the real history says about our true connection to ancient Egypt and Nile Valley civilization. And when the world gets to know this history, okay, we let the world know, because they don't know. And a lot of people, a lot of black people are having this identity crisis, and they are denying it. But when the world gets to know this history, then as Black Americans, we will get the respect we deserve. We will be well respected, and we will be worthy of power and rulership. But until then, stay lost and stay dumb. Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
I
the
got to say.
reason why you get Somalian and East Africans, with this mindset is because Somalians are what you call and Ethiopians are they're mainly Afro-Asiatic. These are Chadic branch of Africans, okay? And so they have a different mindset and we're different. I think our mothers might be the same, but our fathers are different. It does not mean that they are non-Africans, because people are weird. So again, to generalize, so not all Somalians are the same. They're not one group. So you have Somali Bantu, you have those that are Afro-Asiatic,
Yeah.
and so on. And so, but the Somalis who are more Afro-Asiatic, their mindset are like some of the, they have, I don't know, they think they've been fooled to think that they're better than the other African people and they know better. Okay,
Yeah.
but the reality is it's far from it. Because if you look at Africa in general, if you look at Somali empires in the way they call them, where their land is today, uh, what empires did they have in
Yeah.
Somalia?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the only thing that they've been colonized by the Arabs, just like some of us. We was
Yeah.
taken over by the Tuaregs. Who came down, but the Tuaregs, that we can have a different topic about the Tuaregs. They, to me, I think the Africans, we mix with other people, but well, they actually got taken out by the foreigners themselves directly and
Yeah.
and heavily influenced, and they've still been controlled by those. So they feel like they're better for some faults. Is actually totally false, because if you look at how they live and how they are and their culture, you feel sorry for them, right? But it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
delusional. They got that delusional mindset to think that they're better than West Africans.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
form of rivalry is actually
Mhm.
laughable, really, because there's no way of form that they are. Even where more West Africans are more educated than them. We're more exposed historically. We actually have built more empires than them.
Yeah.
Physically,
Oh yeah.
we are more. So it's like I don't engage with them because I live with them. I don't engage with them, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah. I
I
definitely want
don't.
to touch on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now Somalians,
yeah,
they're yeah, where their pride is coming from. Okay, because Somalia does have a deep connection with ancient Egypt. But the Hebrew Israelites and a lot of mainstream academia, they try to say that that the Sudanese and the Somalians are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians who fled Egypt after the fall of Egypt. No, this is incorrect. Okay, the people who fled Egypt after the fall of Egypt, they went west. They went west and southwest into yeah, into Libya, into West Africa along the Niger River.
yeah,
That's what I'm going to show in my book. And but the ancient Egyptian connection to Somalia and Sudan,
mm,
that goes all the way
mm.
back to the 18th dynasty, because the people in Somalia, their ancestors were known as the people of Punt, the land of Punt. You ever heard of the land of Punt?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a sacred land mentioned by the ancient Egyptians. It's, the land of Punt. It means Powanet. It means it is called the Ta Neter, which means the land of the gods. Yeah, it was called the land of Punt. Punt. Look it up. Look it up. You'll see. But yeah, that was where the Somalians dwelt at. Okay, and the Sudanese, they were the people of Kush that was invaded by Kemet and the ancient Egyptians. And the ancient Egyptians, they established many Egyptian temples and settlements along the land of Kush, south of the second cataract, all the way to the fifth cataract, which is
Pharaoh,
known
can I
as
ask you a question?
Napata. So yeah, that's
Yes,
yeah,
sister,
that's
want
the
to ask you a
connection.
question.
Pharaoh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't wish to be rude. As an academic, I have enjoyed the conversation. But as I was listening to this, I thought about your typical Black American. Why is this knowledge you believe? Why do you believe this knowledge has utility for settling a dispute between the Somalis and the West Africans? What is the benefit of that? This is one of the reasons why FBA want to delineate, because it isn't that we don't care about what goes on in the African continent, but we have concerns and issues that we want to address here in the United States.
Yeah, yeah, because we come from West Africa, okay, and we have to get that truth and get that connection with West Africa right, or otherwise we're not going anywhere, okay? Because like it or not,
West Africa is the land of Black American ancestors. Okay,
Look,
and if Black Americans don't know the history of West Africa, they don't know the history of themselves. Okay, so you have
yeah.
to go back to West Africa, and from West Africa you can go you got to go back to East Africa and find that connection. Okay, because just as the slave ships crossed the Atlantic Ocean, okay, ancient Egyptians and Ethiopians or Cushites crossed the Sahara Desert and reached West Africa. Okay, so that journey from the Nile River to the Niger River across the Sahara Desert, it happened. Just as that journey from West Africa across the Atlantic Ocean to the shores of America, it happened. Okay, so that's the history we have to get right, and we have to tell the truth about. It's all about the truth. These Somalians, they have been lying. They've been trying to disconnect West Africans from ancient Egypt because of some white supremacist racist racist scientific nonsense. Okay, some Negro versus Nubian nonsense. I mean, that's where it comes from. Separating the Negro from the Hamite, saying that the Hamite brought the civilization to the Negro, and the most civilized Africans were the Hamites along the Nile River, and the Negro in West Africa had no history, had no civilization, and the Hamites, the Somalians, the East Africans were superior. That's all total nonsense. It's all
and they
total
always call us.
made up
They call us the
English
monkey
nonsense.
name. They call us all kind of weird. I listen. I grew up. I know Somalis very well, and I understand their mindset. And to me, I feel sorry for them, and I understand. Look, what the question is instead of asking is, you know, I think West African people, West African descent, we need to stop being naive to think, we need to isolate ourselves from each other. Is a way of moving forward. It's not. It's never going to help. There's a reason why people are desperate for us to self isolate. I'm not stopping, the African American of African descent to have form their own identity as a group in America. I'm absolutely 100% with that, and I could give you a good example of why I think that's very important, if you wish you to know. But to say that we shouldn't care about West African descent. Uh, in globally, because your FBA, you want to delineate. That doesn't make sense to me, because if you look at the Europeans, for example, the West, right, and like especially the Anglo-Saxons, they have what they call the Five Eyes. Okay, these people from like Australia, United Kingdom, Europe. I mean, someone else might help me, but this, if you look at this, all these countries are the Anglo-Saxons. They work together in terms of intelligence. It's for the safety of their people and their nations. And if we cannot try and form some form of alliance, we might not agree to everything, but let's agree to one thing for the safety of our people and learn from the past. Where are we going? Where are we heading to? It's a total disaster. As we mentioned earlier, look, in Egypt, people have to be moved. West Africans migrate from Egypt to West Africa. They build empires and kingdoms. They have to migrate from within the West African region due to different invasion. They build. Some of them went to the coast. They build. They have to be chased out the coast and get captured as slaves. Just even in the empire that they were building, and trans-Sahara slavery, we know that it was actually big also, right? And then with the transatlantic slave trade, and then people are all over the world, the same group of people. Okay, and
Yeah.
now, now we haven't stopped. So we've been chased around like since times. So do you think that's ever going to stop? No. Anyone that think what we're facing now, whatever is chasing us, is still chasing us. Whatever is against us is still against us. I don't know what it is. Whether I'm not going to sit there and name names, but there's something. There must be something special about us to be so resilient. Okay, and also to be so important that group of people always after us and what we got. Didn't you? There must be. Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just
Yeah,
stand by
indeed.
what I said. You know, as an academic, I'm interested in learning more about this, but your typical native born Black, this is not something that's
What
going
do you
to.
mean by native born Black?
Yeah, yeah. Sister, now you do know that the literature that speaks on Native American history, it's not that old.
No, I said
It's not that old.
say
So
Native
yeah,
American.
it goes no further back. It goes
Native.
no further.
I said if I said Native American, I misspoke. I said Native Black American.
Yeah, it's not that old. It's not that old.
Okay, Black
Yeah,
American of African descent, you mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So if Black Americans want to know their ancient history from the ancient writings, they have to go to West Africa because they're not going to find it in Black Native Americans. So if you're looking for that ancient history before slavery, okay, before slavery, you have to go back to Africa. Not just West Africa. You also have to go back to East Africa. Okay, because that history, that is the history that predates slavery. That is the history that proves that we were civilized long before the coming of the white man, long before Christianity, long before Islam. Okay, we were
Right.
the masters and rulers of the world. Okay, and you can't and you don't have to. And I'm telling you, you don't have to just go to West Africa. You can go to East Africa. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. You can go to East Africa. Now, I did a video titled Ethiopian Ancestors of Black Americans. Look it up. It's on my channel, Pharaoh Mizrahim. It has over 10,000 views. And and there are a lot of comments from Ethiopians and Somalians agreeing with that video, saying yes, African Americans, West Africans, um, were also called Ethiopians, and we have a connection to Nile Valley civilization. So yes,
Oh yes, the
yes,
word Africa itself is not really for. It wasn't described as for Black people. Let's be honest. These have like a bunch of Phoenicians, Tuaregs, and people that lived around that Libya during the days of the Roman Empire.
yeah,
That was it. Carthage. These are It's very limited to the north. That's why some North African people say to you, they are the real Africans. We are not. The rest of the continent were kingdoms. You
yeah,
know, um, and group of people, and so it's like, but all these things again is people telling us our history, and which is really sad to me, because we need to understand our history. We need to write it down and make sure no one does, and that's why that when for example, when the jihadists invaded Mali, they wanted to destroy the library in Timbuktu. That was like a that was really heartbreaking for me, because there's so many written things
yeah,
that are written down there. I mean, I have my own reservation about Islam in West Africa, but if there's one thing Islam managed to do in West Africa, is to enable Black people to write down their own history from those days moving forward. Because whatever happened back, before Islam, we just pass it on. But whatever happened from during the arrival of Islam in West Africa, by the way, I'm going to make it clear, I'm not promoting any religion here, just to make that clear. But it's just a fact. Because for a fact, during the slave days, you're not allowed to read and write. Am I making this up? No. Were you allowed to
mm,
read and write during the transatlantic slave trade in America? Were African Americans allowed to read and write during those days in America or go to school?
yeah, yeah. No,
Was you allowed?
no.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
And this, I'm talking about, like, from around the 7th century. So it is really important, because when you write
yeah,
down your history, no one can tell your history.
yes, indeed, indeed.
And this is the problem we're going through right now, because there's so many misinformation, about us and our people, and people who are telling us this. Some of these people learn from us, but because they have gone past us, because we refuse to learn. We
Yeah,
refuse to keep data. And you see how
yeah,
data is very powerful today. We don't take data. We even our leaders in Africa today. To be honest with you, I don't think African Americans had a problem of uh, problem the world, the Africans, us, we're the problem of black race. Our leaders in
Yeah,
Africa are the problem with the black race.
yeah, yeah, indeed, and and that's what people don't realize too. Like even like great conquerors like Alexander the Great, Caesar of
Mm.
Rome. They looked up, they revered and looked up to the black pharaohs of Kemet, and they revered them and they respected them, and that's why they were great rulers and great kings, because they copycatted what the pharaohs of Egypt or Kemet did, and they respected them, and they did not have the disrespect that many African Americans do, and people and Christians and Muslims do towards ancient Egypt today. These conquerors, Alexander the Great, all of them, even the Persian king Cyrus, they revered ancient Egypt. They highly respected the pharaohs
Don't
of
go that
Kemet.
far.
Yeah,
Don't go that far, bro. When do like the time of the Borno Empire, where you call the Chad region today, okay?
yeah.
The Europeans, they send white military slave for black kings to fight for them.
Hmm.
You understand?
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's well documented. They
Oh
brought
man, I gotta
thousands
look
of
that up. I gotta look that up.
European cavalry. Yeah,
Oh
during the
man.
Borno Empire. When you talk about the trans-Sahara slave trade during those days,
Yeah.
Africans were buying white slave, white Arabs were buying black slave. It was both sides. The concept of racism against black only came from the Europeans.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
They,
Yeah. 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 I definitely.
that's hundred
I
percent.
I'm signing off now.
It's,
Earl, good luck with your book.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 And
yeah,
also, I'm gonna sign out as well. But
yeah,
yeah, I just want to finish off saying this, that
mm,
us reclaiming Nile Valley civilization,
yeah,
the power and the greatness of Nile Valley civilization shows, and it proves that kingship belongs to us. Okay, military belongs to us. Civilization, science, farming, all civilization, building, it all belongs to us, because ancient Egypt and Kemet proves that we are the originators of all this. So
yeah.
it proves that it belongs to us. Every military kingship, it all belongs to us, and we must reclaim our greatness and take it back. Yeah, and that's
I
just
mean,
all I got to say.
did Nubia defeated the Romans, and Nubia was predominantly black, right?
Yes. Under Queen Candace. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
that's
know
what
about
tells
that.
you. There
Yeah,
was a point of a time where things went totally wrong, and I think it's when they discovered the gunpowder, and they infiltrated the coast of Africa. These same people, and this is it. When they okay, I believe is when the conquest of Spain uh, ended, when Alexander the Great, basically, is when Islam was expelling Spain,
yeah,
and those some of them run to Africa, and then the Spanish and the Portuguese managed to build loads of boats, as to say, right, we're gonna chase these efforts. They came here, they done this for so long, they ruled us for 800 years. Let's go after them. What they did is they send mass missionaries. It's what they do now. They send like the average imam, or they send the average, or like a Christian missionary to come in the village, build a church or a mosque.
yeah,
They start preaching division, and then they start trading with you a little bit just to make you feel comfortable while they get enough information. And then by the time you know it, boom. And because we become a less organized society. When we were more organized, that wouldn't happen, because most of the organized states were like satellite states. They used to communicate with one another in different ways. You see, and
yeah,
any society that's not organized is easily captured by an organized society. And I think that's where we failed as people. And this is what's
yeah.
going on right now.
Oh
The
man,
dinosaur,
yeah,
are you there, brother?
yeah. I definitely agree. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's the problem. It's a problem that we're
Yeah,
facing.
I'm
I think
here.
African. Okay, yeah. So I think African people of our, in general, we need to just like try and be more organized. We cannot bring every African person, in, or every black person, but
Yeah,
those people
yeah,
that we can bring together, need to come together and actually work things out, man. You know.
yeah. I definitely agree. Yeah. If we but if someone can really like set the tone and really um bring this thing to light and shake up things, I believe everybody else will fall in the line and get along with it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
black people, we never gave it a try. We never like really embraced our ancestors and gave it a try. And I believe once we do that, we'll start to see we'll start to see things get better and go, and everything will start to go up rather than down. So yeah,
Yeah. Have you
they
studied about the Dogon people also? Have you? Because Danny's got documentary about them.
yeah.
Have you studied about the Dogon in Mali?
Yeah, the Dogon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all heard about the their knowledge on the stars of Sirius. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. I learned about that long ago. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. They're very
Very right.
very deep great people. And they definitely have a deep connection to ancient Kemet as well. Yeah, that's what I know.
And they're
Yeah.
from Western Sudan, right?
Yeah, Western Sudan. Yeah, Mali.
Yeah.
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 But Black Americans definitely need to get serious about embracing our greatness and our ancestors, because I mean, to be truth be told, they our people they never tried it.
Hey, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and close out. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back on tomorrow. Everyone, thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe. To next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Yes. Peace out.
All right. Peace, brothers. All right. Blessings.